you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're counting down to tip-off of Arizona basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Here's Bradley on the run, slam it home.
I have a feeling Jaden Bradley's going to get a lot of
And
steals. He did it again.
Pass. Now Bradley will drive into the lane, dish it up with the left hand, roll it in. My goodness. Copa's shot blocked by KJ Lewis out of the air and grabbed by Bradley. Lewis back the other way, down the lane, laid up and good.
Well, what a steam train downhill.
Caleb quickly across midcourt now. He wants to take it inside and put it up and score it. That's just strength.
Yeah, that's grown man strength.
We're going to have to come up with a nickname for those three guys playing the guard position with each other here this season at Arizona. Right now, I'm just calling it three-guard play. Three-guard play when you're talking about Caleb Love, KJ Lewis, and Jaden Bradley. We had talked all preseason about the three of these guys together, and they were on display in the season opener as the Wildcats opened the 2024-25 season with an impressive victory over Canisius the other night at McHale Center. Caleb Love, 17 points and 6 assists in the ball game. Jaden Bradley put in 15 points in the contest to go along with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. KJ Lewis showing off the defense that we have come to know and love from him. Just an impressive night to start. And we get our first Saturday game of the season. Old Dominion coming to town today for a meeting with the Arizona Wildcats. Welcome to Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Tip-off coming your way at 2 o'clock. We've got you from 10:30 to 1:30. I've got my guys here. I've got the captain, Kelvin Ifan, class of 1998. J.W. Madden also here with us this morning as well, giving you all kinds of basketball insight as we move along through this show here today. And, if you want to call in, we'll talk to you as well. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. We don't always take a lot of calls on the pregame show, but if you have something you want to say about Arizona basketball, we certainly would love to chat with you about that as well. Win number 89 for Tommy Lloyd to open up this season. He entered this year with 88, second most wins in NCAA history through a coach's first 3 seasons. And we're diving in, obviously, to the early part of this non-conference schedule with a couple of home games to start with Canisius and Old Dominion. But it gets real interesting real quick. Starting next week, a pair of big, major Power 4 matchups on the horizon. Friday night on the road in Madison, Wisconsin against the Wisconsin Badgers of the Big Ten, and then the rematch against the Duke Blue Devils the following Friday, November the 22nd, here at McHale Center. Fans obviously looking forward to both of those matchups, and we'll dive into the scheduling that the Wildcats have this non-conference versus what we saw in the gauntlet last year, and who's on the docket for this year as we begin this first season in the Big 12 Conference. Guys, just kind of reviewing and after watching the tape a little bit from Game 1, any new thoughts on what we saw in the win over Canisius? I'll start with you, Mr. Calvin Ifan.
Just some of the same of what I said after the game. I thought the 3 guards played real well. I thought the energy was there on the defensive end of the court. Just still want to get the transfers acclimated and get them guys going into the offensive side of the ball. I thought on the defensive side of the ball, they brought rebounding, they brought toughness, they brought experience. But I want to see those guys get settled in on the offensive side of the court. It's only been one game, a couple exhibitions, but still, when you want to see this team up to their best, those guys are going to be playing and flowing in the offense as well.
J-Dub.
Sorry, I was answering a question for training. What was the question again, my friend?
Just kind of what initial after watching the tape. Any different thoughts on what you saw from Game 1 of this season?
I think, as you said to start, I think the 3 guards obviously are going to be the strength of the team. The new guys working their way in. I think you see Kelvin, 5-year starters, like a guy like Townsend, is not going to try to step on a bunch of toes. Like, he's just in there working his way into the system. I think you're going to see those guys get more and more comfortable as the season goes on. But the strengths, clearly, the 3 guards, we know what you're going to get for those guys. Waka's strength inside, I think his rebound is going to be really needed in the Big 12. I'm really just looking forward to seeing this group gel together, because that's really what's all about, is how well do the guys play together, connecting those passes, that whole thing. In that flow offense, it's really about being connected with each other in order to get great shots.
All right, let's dive into what we've got coming up for you on this pregame show this morning.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
3-guard play. That's the first nickname. If you got a nickname, if we should come up with these 3 guards, text it to us, 520-848-1290, or you can interact with the program on any of our social media platforms. We are streaming the show on Facebook Live video. It's also on YouTube. We are also on Twitch. You can interact with us on any of those platforms, as well as I mentioned the number 520-848-1290. We'll dive into 3-guard play and what the results were from game number 1. We'll take our first look at Old Dominion, a new opponent that has not necessarily been on the Wildcats schedule too much in the past. Spotlight on a Cat, brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Jaden Bradley will get his thoughts after his first start as the point guard at Point Guard U, the junior, and how he felt things flowed in the win over Canisius. We'll dive into the scoreboard, a big game last night involving 2 top 10 teams. We've got a number of top 25 matchups on the docket today, and Kansas was on the floor against North Carolina last night. We'll tell you about what happened in that. We'll get a view from courtside. The longtime beat writer for the Arizona Wildcats will join us, Bruce Pascoe. We'll talk to him about this team and his thoughts on this season. Best bets brought to you by Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook. U of A enters this game a 29.5-point favorite over Old Dominion. The over-under today a little bit higher than it was on Tuesday or Wednesday. What night did we play? Monday night. See, the days just run together.
You better get used to those Monday night games.
Exactly. Monday and Tuesday night games. A little bit higher than we had Monday night. 159.5 on your over-under today. Let's get the thoughts of the head coach, Tommy Lloyd, on his his fifth-year senior guard, Caleb Love, who scored 17 points, had 6 assists, did not turn the ball over in the season opener. Marked the second time in Caleb Love's career that he registered at least 6 assists in a game with no turnovers.
I just want Caleb making great basketball plays over and over and over again. And he's really mature. I mean, I love the way he played under control and on balance. And I just thought, that the role he played alongside, Jaden and KJ, it just seems like it felt really good, and the pieces fit together.
Well, we talk about how guard play and guards can win you a national championship come March. This team is at a really, really good advantage, having not just 3 guards who are really talented, but 3 guys who have played together for a year now, going into year 2 as a cohesive unit.
Yeah, and I think what happens there is you grow respect for each other through that season, practicing against each other, playing in live games against each other, failing, going through losses with each other. So I just think that these guys have that respect for each other, where they want to come out and hold each other accountable and play real hard for each other and be the leaders of this team with the way that they play more than anything, because none of these guys seem to be real verbal type of guys, but they seem to be guys that by their actions, they're leading. I mean, and when you're talking about Bradley and KJ Lewis, the way that they play on the defensive side of the court, what scoring guard ain't gonna love to play with guys like that, because they could take the pressure off of you. Because if I'm the scoring guard, they could take on the other team's best guard. I could take on the third. Like with these 2 guys playing alongside Bradley and KJ Lewis, Love gets to guard the third best guy, so he can rest a little bit, but also he can turn up his energy. So I just feel like that those three guys playing together is just a matter of respect that they've earned for each other.
Yeah, when K-Rock and I were coming up, combo guard was kind of a bit of a bad word. Like,
Right.
no disrespect, because there were guys like Damon at that time who could do both, right? But generally it meant that you weren't good enough to play point, you weren't good enough to facilitate, and you weren't good enough to be a lead guard scoring, right? But nowadays, we're talking about positionless basketball. Those guys, KJ needs to work a little bit on his shot, a little bit on his handles, but all three of those guys can facilitate. We know Caleb's a killer. He can get his buckets anytime he needs to. And Jaden Bradley's shown early on he's much more aggressive looking for his. I mean, he's not hunting his shots, guys. He's just taking what the defense gives him because guess what? They know how many points has Caleb Love scored in college basketball. So the scout is to stop Caleb Love. Jaden Bradley's been taking advantage of that, these exhibition games in that first game. But two guys in particular, Kelvin, who really are that level of combo who you trust to set other guys up. 6 assists for Caleb. We know Jaden can do that, but both of those guys can fill it up too. So that's a bit of a nightmare matchup when you got a couple of guys, and then KJ, clearly one of the most athletic guards we've seen in a while. So it's a scary backcourt.
Obviously, it was not a high-level Power 4 team as like what's coming up, as I mentioned, in the very near future. But still, the numbers very impressive when you talk about 14 assists to 1 turnover for those three guards to go along with 7 steals, 4 of those by Jaden Bradley. Jaden and KJ talking about Game 1 and the win over Canisius.
It feels good just to, get back out there, especially with this new team and everything that we put in the summer. So it feels great.
Yeah, just, getting back after it, having our full roster, having Big Mo back and getting him back in the rotation and, seeing our guys all out there and playing in front of Mikal, it felt good.
And Kelvin, you mentioned just kind of the feeling that these three guys have with each other. They trust each other. KJ Lewis kind of reiterating that fact in his comments after the game.
It feels good. It's nothing new to us. We all been in the gym with each other this summer. We all been playing with each other. I think it's just, it's good to get out there, get that first one out the way. We're going to watch film and see what we can grow as a trio going into Saturday.
Yeah, and that's where, again, the relationships are built through those practices that they have had throughout the summer. Once they knew that Caleb was coming back into the fold and they got back into the gym together to start to formulate what they wanted this year to be about.
Yeah, that shows me guys that were disappointed with the way that they finished the season. So they got right back in the gym and said, hey, let's create the type of chemistry that we're going to need to get through a season. And, and when you look at these guys, the way that they play don't really bump head. Like, there's you have the real shooter, the real scorer, and then you have the attacking guard in Love, and then you have the attacking guard in Bradley, and then you have a guy like KJ Lewis that just slashes and does all the dirty work. So they really don't bump heads in what they're really trying to do offensively. So there's a certain cohesion to the way that they're playing. I'm excited to see them play against better competition, to see it really get pushed to a limit to how good they could be together.
Yeah, and K-Rock said it best first. He said it's not just those highs. It's dealing with those lows as a team together. 96, Kelvin, led to 97. Right? That the best football team in Arizona history came from some misery, right?
Yeah.
Came from some losses. So sometimes if you lose big games and you come back together as a group, guess what? You all felt that. You all been working on that. You all been thinking about that all summer long. So having those three guys with a lot of experience, clearly spending that time off court and learning each other's tendency. Hey, just your shooting pocket, Kelvin, where you like to catch the ball, those kind of little things. And the bad taste in their mouth from last year, that leads to them working together on what they need to work on.
And I think what happens is they want that to spill over to the other guys because those guys don't know about that yet. That's the thing about transfers coming into the program. They don't know about that pain that these three guys had with each other, what they've went through. But these three guys' jobs is over the course of these games, these non-conference games, to get ready for the Big 12 is to get these guys up to speed with what they're trying to do. Get them up to speed with the free-flowing offense. That's why I think it's going to be important for them to get Townsend and Awaka some easy buckets there or so, right? Orso.
Del Orso, yeah.
Yeah, they're also to get him some easy looks for these guys because once we get those guys incorporated, I think then you'll see how strong this team is. And as you said, it's got to get going now. I mean, it's coming up next week. You got some competition that's going to force it, these guys to play better. We're going to figure out whose minutes going to get cut.
Absolutely. Tommy Lloyd on 3-guard play.
Anytime you're at a program like Arizona and you have a group of guards that have played together one year, come back the next year, it's pretty rare, right? In this day and age. So to have those guys, I think it's like feel like you're playing with veterans, juniors and seniors, and they're veteran players, and they've really grown together as players, and they really support each other. So that was good to see.
And, KJ Lewis is a guy that we know can defend at that end of the floor, but he's also going to be a guy that's going to have the ball in his hands more at the offensive end of the floor this year. And he talked about how he's prepared to be that player for this team.
I put a lot of work into my ball handling. I mean, we're just trying to take care of the ball as much as possible, have more possessions than the other team. And ultimately, we just, we got to continue to have, less turnovers.
You know what Kelvin Ifan loves, DK? He loves it when you've got 5 guys who could push. So you get that board, you're not looking for an outlet, you're looking to push because there's so much extra pressure. So, KJ clearly is about as athletic as anybody on this team, anybody we've seen in a while. Tightening up that handle, Kelvin, is, I think, the next big step along with outside consistent shooting.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, tighten up on the handle, but the cool thing about him is he's not afraid to push that ball. He's not afraid to handle the ball, and I think that's actually is helping him coming into this year with some of the responsibilities that he's going to have handling the ball, is that he's had that experience. And so he's not a guy, he's a very unselfish player. He makes the right pass and everything. I just think with the ball handling, he has to make sure he don't get fancy. Just keep it simple.
And, maybe a little known stat that we kind of overlooked with KJ at the offensive end of the floor last year. He was almost 2.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio last season. That was 9th nationally among freshmen with at least 69
well, like
assists.
Kelvin said, it's about keeping it simple and making the right reads and not trying to do anything too fancy. I mean, how many behind-the-back passes have you seen from KJ, Kelvin?
I don't remember too many.
Right. So, I mean, he's not trying to get out there and, get on a highlight reel. He's just trying to make the right basketball play, and that's what leads to wins.
Well, I'll say it. When you get kids that come from championship cultures in high school, they already understand taking care of and valuing the basketball. There's kids from Duncanville High School. I think he has a couple teammates that's in the pros already from that team, and the rest of them are playing Division I, high-level Division I. So he's a kid that understands, and I understood coming in that he was going to understand how to play with other good players. You don't have to run a play for him. He just gets out there and plays basketball. You never see him complaining. Just see him making things happen.
All right, that is what we've got coming up for you. We've got the Wildcats and Old Dominion tip-off 2 o'clock today at McHale Center. If you're heading down to the game, you want to get in, 520-848-1290 is the number to do so. Much more straight ahead. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, along with Calvin Ifan and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our window depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Are you facing plumbing problems and need a reliable solution? Whether it's a leaky faucet, a clogged drain, or an upgrade to a tankless water heater, Rightway has you covered. And for a limited time only, we're offering 10% off your next repair or installation. Don't let plumbing issues ruin your day. Call Rightway at 520-276-2775. We'll get a plumber to your door. If it's worth doing, do it the right way.
The Window Depot is more than a window store. The Window Depot is a one-stop warehouse with everything you need for your complete home remodel. Shop the aisles of pre-built cabinets in a variety of colors, granite and quartz countertops, sinks, skylights, and hardware to complete your project. Need a custom order? We can help. Our designers offer free design services and can special order everything you need for your kitchen or bathroom remodel today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Did you know collecting sports cards is one of the fastest growing hobbies around? Whether you're looking to start or expand your collection, Showtime Cards is your ultimate destination. As one of the leading card shops in the country, they've been serving our community for over 25 years with the best in sports cards and trading card games. From rare finds to the latest releases, Showtime Cards has it all. Check them out at ShowtimeCards.com or visit them today at 5801 East Speedway. And discover why collectors everywhere trust Showtime Cards for their passion.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. Our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game is brought to you by the Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
Quickly down, Del Orso, left wing. Out top, Martinez. He'll drive the lane to the bucket. Put it up and good. What? Aggressive and pretty move for Conrad Martinez.
Yeah, last year we saw his ability to pass the basketball. Going to have to be a scoring threat this year. Hit a 3, knock down a runner there.
Conrad Martinez, 6-foot sophomore guy out of Granollers, Spain, scored 5 points in the season opener on Monday night. A win over Canisius, 93-64. Welcome back to Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day, getting yourself set for game number 2 of the season. The Wildcats taking on Old Dominion today at McHale Center with tip-off coming up at 2 o'clock. It was a game in which Old Dominion threw a little zone defense at the Arizona Wildcats on Monday night. Tommy, how did you feel that the Wildcats handled that zone defense?
It was okay. I just think overall, maybe we got a little bit of offensively sensitive. We missed some shots, missed some layups, and I just felt like our overall effort kind of dipped, which was something that it's going to be a great teaching tool. I don't love that it happened, but it did. So we're going to teach to it. I think we could play a little bit tougher. We can play a little bit harder. We can finish a little bit stronger inside. And, I just felt like, guys missed a few layups and maybe kind of, the wind went out of the sails a little bit. All in all, I mean, I'm not worried about our zone offense with this group. I think, we'll be fine, but definitely we can continue to work on that.
And that was where the game, I think, got a little sloppy on Monday night. We got the fast start. They were up 20-2. Things kind of slowed down when Old Dominion, or I should say, Canisius kind of changed up the defense. Zone offense has been something that really this program as a whole has struggled with, going back to the Sean Miller days. And, how many times did we talk about that when teams would come out in zone and the Wildcats offense would disappear? So good that they saw that, guys, on night one and have to begin to figure out how they're going to deal with that if they see it during the regular season.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say if. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of – anytime you see that flow offense, we talk about it like kind of ugling and mucking it up a bit, because if you let – a really skilled team with really high skill level players who flow through and set screens and react off of what each other is doing, Kelvin, I mean, that's how you lead to 35, 40 assists in a game. That's what they're looking to do. So the only way you do that is you stop that flow by setting up some kind of 2-3-1-3-1.
Yeah, you almost have to. If you don't, I don't know, as a coach, unless you have the same type of horses, if you don't play zone versus this free flow, you're almost committing a crime. I think you have to see how they handle it, because a lot of times teams that play that way don't like to slow down. They don't like to move the ball to get it to the right people to take the right shot. So it's important to see those zones early in the season and versus other competition, because you just can't do the same in practice with those. I mean, even though in our practices I think you can do pretty good, but it's just not the same as going against other competition.
Well, and again, I think one of the things we saw and we've talked about is just kind of some of the cutting motion that we're going to see in this offense, cutting with your bigs. We've seen Trey Townsend at times slashing to the basket from the outside to try to open up different options for this offense, and the movement is going to be important. The movement is going to be important.
Likes it when you screen in a zone. Screen versus a zone.
Oh man,
because some teams stop screening because you're not playing man to man. There aren't guys trailing behind everybody, where you're usually more responsible for a zone of the court. That's how zone defenses work. But you can still set a screen, K-Rock, against that zone.
Man, that's some of the best offense you get is when you screen that off. When you screen, because now you're drawing two guys to an area, and now you can move the ball for hockey assists and wide open passes to your guys. You know me, I also like throwing the lob over the top of those zones by screening the back of the zone and playing the baseline and throwing it over the top to the box and letting your athletes like KJ Lewis make plays.
Speaking of KJ Lewis, he talked about the Wildcats and facing that zone defense.
Just ball movement and player movement. I mean, something that we naturally do here. And again, it's just the first game. We're going to take the film. This is the most we've been zoned out of the, two expedition. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But, we're just going to take the film and, build on it. We're going to be prepared for whatever, the defense is throwing at us.
KJ had a little bit of trouble getting that expectation out there. But, just like what you said there, J-Dub, but they're going to see it. And they know they're going to see it. So good that they're going to, start to try to work on that.
The general rule of thumb is that if you have less talent, and especially less measurable, so let's say hypothetically you roll in with like a 6'9", 210-pound center, and, maybe your point guard isn't quite quick-footed to keep up with a guy like Jaden Bradley. Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to come in, Kelvin, and play straight up man versus that team, because you'll just get overwhelmed physically and skill-wise. So how do you overcompensate for that? Well, if five guys are all on the same page and they're moving together as one, that's how come – you remember those great Boeheim zones or the UNLV like amoeba zone they ran? When the five guys are all on the same page, a zone's can be real tough to score against, and it takes you out of that rhythm of that screen and that flow offense that you're trying to do.
and as a coach, when I run zone, a lot of time in this day and age, is I'm trying to get them to shoot threes, right? Because everybody want to shoot threes, and I try to run them against teams that I know usually don't shoot threes well, and it's usually teams that penetrate well and can get in and dunk and get the layup. So you run zone versus those guys, so they get happy shooting threes a lot of the times, and you hope that your smaller, quicker guys could beat them to the long rebound.
And those natural driving lanes you would expect after like a high screen or roll or whatever just aren't there because the zone, the responsibilities of the zone. Exactly.
Game number 1 of this season for the Arizona Wildcats saw them dish out 20 assists, which has become kind of a staple as well of these Tommy Lloyd teams that we have seen. They have now had 109 games under Tommy Lloyd. In 109 games, I should say, the Wildcats have dished out 20 or more assists as a team in 53 of those 109
and the other ones they played against
games.
the zone.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's pause 10 seconds here for station identification. It is Arizona Game Day, and you're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We have the Arizona Wildcats covered on game day like no one else. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
And we've got myself, Kelvin Efon, and J.W. Madden with you here, getting you set for Arizona Wildcats basketball. The number 10 Wildcats at home today against Old Dominion. The Monarchs come in off a loss to the Buffalo Bulls. So both of these teams opening their seasons against colleges from the Buffalo metropolitan areas. The Wildcats had a win over Canisius on Monday night. It's going to get tougher, though, as we mentioned in segment number 1. Coming up, you've got Wisconsin and Duke on the horizon the next 2 games after tonight. And then you're going to head to a multi-team event, which is one of the tournaments that the Wildcats annually play in. This will be down in the Bahamas. That'll be the weekend of Thanksgiving. They'll play Wednesday. They'll play Thanksgiving. And they'll play Friday. For sure, they know they're playing Davidson to open up.
Are they playing in that ballroom again?
I don't know if that's going to be the ballroom. I would imagine.
I just remember last time they were in Atlantis when they went 0-3. They were playing in basically like a place that was not set up for basketball.
No.
And it's always been there. So if they change it, it's going to be something new. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, exactly. So Oklahoma Providence would be game 2, and then you could potentially get a matchup with Gonzaga in this tournament down the line, and that would be interesting.
They looked real good the other night versus Baylor.
Oh, yes, they did. Yes, they did. It got tight there in the second half, but then they just went on a roll.
Did you see Mark Few's kid get in the game?
I did not. No.
Oh, man, they put him in late, and he tried to challenge one of them Baylor front court guys. And yeah, that might be poster of the year, Kelvin. I mean, it's early, but that was a really mean
The only thing I'll say is, getting beat by 30 in a poster, it's just when you put that together, you're like, oh no, but he should have got out the way though. I don't know what he was thinking.
Hey, respect to Mark Few's kid. I'm sorry, I don't know his first name, but respect because he did go up and try to challenge that shot in a time we probably shouldn't have done that.
So the Wildcats will play just 11 non-conference games this season due to the obviously longer schedule that they're facing in the Big 12 Conference this year. Among the other teams that are on that schedule outside of the MTE, the UCLA Bruins, of course, that'll be the game up in Phoenix. The head
they
coach
lost last night to New Mexico.
Did they really?
They did.
Oh, wow. Not good. Not good for them. Tommy Lloyd talked just kind of about scheduling and what he's looking for now in terms of the way he wants to schedule non-conference with the Wildcats facing a very, very difficult schedule in the Big 12 Conference.
We want to be a national program, so we want to schedule, as such, and but you also want to protect your program and make sure you're doing the best thing for each individual team. Do you end up with a young team one year and you need to get experience? Do you have a really good veteran team that you really need to go challenge? I mean, I think there's always there's a little bit of art to scheduling, and by no way, shape, or form have I mastered that. we're gonna kind of be in a good mode where we're kind of assessing everything. But I do really enjoy playing a really challenging, non-conference schedule. I mean, it's something I think there's a lot of value not only for our program but just for the game of college basketball in general.
Do you prefer this system in college basketball where it's kind of year to year as opposed to football that has games scheduled out 8 years?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that makes no sense to me. But I don't understand a lot of things about football, so that's not like a negative. For me, it's I couldn't imagine, being a coach and you walk in and, here's your schedule. That to me that's crazy.
Since we're catching up maybe on a little bit on schedule, I think years ago there was a thing here where y'all were supposed to start with NAU every year for like 10 years. And then obviously with Liam playing up there, you didn't want to do that. Could that go back at some point? Or?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll revisit that. That was just, a family issue, and, I didn't necessarily want to, be playing against my son. And, I think he was all for it. So that was 100% on me, and fortunately, between Shane and myself, and in our athletic directors, we were able to kind of, common sense, in my opinion, was able to prevail, and we were able to kind of push it back a little bit.
What about Gonzaga? That one was still hanging out there too, and I know you may meet them in Bahamas anyway, but I think you still kind of technically owe them a game up there. Is that?
Yeah, something? That's something I'm sure that we'll talk about, down the line, and nothing has been set up, firm on that.
Well, and that's kind of been Tommy's modus is, he didn't want to play Gonzaga because obviously his relationship with Mark Few, those were games that were set up. He clearly did not want to play NAU while Liam was there. But now that Liam's not, I would imagine we may, as you heard him say there, see a continuation of that, or at least the restart of what was the anticipated to be a plan of the Wildcats playing NAU every year. And I've said, and I'll repeat what I've said in the past is I believe that you should play all the in-state schools. I think NAU should be on the schedule annually. GCU should be on the schedule annually. I still want to see Arizona play at GCU. I don't know if he'll ever do it, but I think it would be a great, great opportunity for us to get those two programs together. And in that environment up in Phoenix, I think that would be a spectacle that pretty much everybody in the state would want to see.
Yeah, it's tough with the 20-game schedule.
Yeah,
right? Because all the fans really want to see is Duke come to McHale. Right?
Yeah.
They want to see games. They want to see big-time non-conference challenge. And the issue there being with a 20-game in-conference schedule, what do you got, 35-ish games you could schedule?
Yeah.
So if you're talking about a tournament in which is going to include up to 3 games, right? It limits. It was easier when you had 18 than it is with 20.
But I think you can take out Central Michigan or Sanford.
No, of course.
Right.
Exactly. In there.
Exactly.
I'm going to disagree with one thing with DK, on that Grand Canyon thing. Ain't no way I would play them there. That wouldn't happen. Now, I'm going to play you, little bro.
I get it.
I'll play you, little bro, but come to the house.
Man,
come on to the Big Bro house.
That would be
Thanksgiving at Big Bro house at the Turkey Bowl.
Well, you know what? We may that might be a question of the day we'll put out there next, because I think the fan base at large I get why the coaches don't want to do it. I get that part. But I think the fan bases at large would absolutely want to see home and homes with that. And the man just said we have trouble scheduling opening games. I can't imagine you would have any problem scheduling a game against an in-state team.
Do you know how many times Arizona's played in Flagstaff since I was born?
Once.
Twice.
No, that's more than what I thought.
Yeah, and they played, 40 times against NAU, but only twice in Flagstaff.
I mean, I get, but Grand Canyon is an environment. That is an environment.
I'll give you that.
And I think Arizona should play in those types of environments, especially if it's in state. And if you don't want to go play there, then make that the Phoenix game. I'd like to see make that the game at Footprint Center.
I like that. I like that, but I'm not going to
How
Grand
about
Canyon.
ASU,
We ain't
NAU?
doing that. We ain't doing that.
NAU, ASU, and Grand Canyon all join each other for some 4-game tournament or something.
Oh, I like that too.
There you go. Absolutely. That would be awesome.
Keep it in the family.
Right.
Keep that money in the family.
Right. All right. American, or I should say Arizona Game Day, Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We are in America, that's for sure. Hope you exercised your right and were involved in the process earlier this week. We've got much more coming up for you here, along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I am David Kelly. You are listening to Wildcats Radio 1290. That is our first look at today's game.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
Broadway in Tucson presents the new 2024-2025 season, featuring 6 blockbuster productions, including Mamma Mia and the Southern Arizona premieres of Clue, live on stage, Beetlejuice, Some Like It Hot, the Neil Diamond Musical, A Beautiful Noise, and Shucked. Secure your signature season tickets today and get the best seats at the best prices. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your 2024-2025 season tickets today.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE EAGLE.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or RoyalKia.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Efon, and J.W. Madden. Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Second knocked away and stolen. Here's Bradley on the run, slam it home.
I have a feeling Jaden Bradley's going to get a lot of
And
steals.
he
He did
the
it
inbounds
again.
pass. Now Bradley will drive into the lane, dish it up with the left hand, roll it in. My goodness.
My goodness, indeed. Jaden Bradley, 4 steals in the season opener, 2 on that one play there to get himself 4 points. That was as an impressive a play, I think, by one guy to get 4 points as I think I've seen in a long time. Really just showing his wherewithal to kind of, after making the first basket, Kelvin, to just kind of have an awareness of where the ball was going to be to try to get a steal running back down the floor.
I mean, number one, you are getting back into, you scored, and instead of celebrating like most people do, you get right back into winning mode. He got right back into his defensive posture, and then that's how he understood that they're going to try to get the ball out fast and do that quick outlet. So we jumped the passing lane, and he jumped the passing lane, and the ball ends up right in your hands. And again, he's aggressive, going right back at the rim because he's hunting bodies. He's hunting getting fouled so he can get the easy layups. But he just has anticipation. I mean, he's a winner out there on the court. He plays both ends real solid, loves to get to the basket. That's winning basketball.
It's tough, Kelvin, because AAU-style summer ball, to get on those social medias, it's a lot of times that celebration after that big play, right? It's about the extracurriculars. However, at this level, if you're out there beating your chest and telling anybody how great you are after you make a bucket, guess what? That's a bucket on the other end. So just forget about it. You did something good, great. Get in your defensive stance, get after it.
I guess, okay, so there's a gentleman that puts out analytics named Evan Miyakawa. I've never really heard of him. I'm not someone that really follows the analytics scene, but he says under his rankings last year that Jaden Bradley was 9th in the country in defensive rating last year in the Evan Mia, this is from evanmia.com. Again, Evan Miyakawa, I guess he's worked with a number of NBA organizations and is one of those guys that does basketball
It's a alternative to Pomeroy, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Didn't one guy get, shut down over the offseason or something? Didn't Ken Pomeroy, didn't they say they're not using him or something? Anymore. I thought I heard that from that one.
I mean, it's always been a loose grading system. They've never really used it for any kind of NCAA seeding or anything like that. They say net ratings is what they're using now. It's a lot of the same numbers.
Jaden Bradley, though, again, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 0 turnovers in the season opener. The last Wildcat to do that in a game, score at least 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 0 turnovers, was a guy by the name of Miles Simon in the 1998 NCAA tournament. Let's hear from Jaden Bradley, your spotlight on a cat on the good flow the Wildcats had in their opening night win over Canisius.
Yeah, just, getting back after it, having our full roster, having Big Mo back and getting him back in the rotation and, seeing our guys all out there and playing in front of Mikhail, it felt good.
Coach has said Mo was adding a little bit as time went on in the practice. With him back, it seems like you guys, and Kenry's playing the way he's playing, it seems like you have a lot up front, and then you guys show what you can do the perimeter tonight, too. Do you feel like this team maybe is more balanced than it has been? Or?
I just feel like we got so many different lineups we can play. Now that we're all healthy, we can play, Tobe at the 4, Henry at the 4, Krivas at the 5. We can go smaller, Henry at the 5. So we just, whatever coach wants at that time, we can play that, and adjust to what teams are doing.
You guys showed a little bit of a full court trap. What do you think that could potentially do for the team if you're able to kind of master it?
I just feel like as a team, we're just so active, and on the defensive side, we got high energy. So I feel like that press can, turn teams over, and create easy offense for us. So, we're going to watch film, see what we can do, adjust, and, try to perfect it.
Do you feel like you guys get up after that 4-point deal you had there? 20-2 all of a sudden. I mean, so fast. Was it hard to just keep that up? I mean, was that part of it?
I just feel like, as a competitor, you get up that much, it's kind of easy maybe to, let your foot off the gas. But, Coach Lloyd, he's been on us, just, like turbo power button and just keep going and not trying to, let up little laps and runs for the other team.
Well, how do you guys look back just on this preseason being done now, and how would it compare maybe say to a year ago? Do you feel like this team's in a similar place, different place? You lost a lot of guys, but still a lot of veterans too.
I would just feel like definitely in a different place with different guys, different players. So all just trying to get used to playing with each other. Different lineups. We got so many lineups we can go with. We got Carter, we got Deli, we got Tobe, we got Conrad. So whatever coach wants at that moment, we're gonna try to go out there and play hard.
Have you guys had much opportunity to practice with Mo and Henry together? How valuable do you think that lineup can be, especially if they're able to play away from the basket?
Yeah, I feel like that's very valuable. 2 7-footers that can do two different things. Mo is a force inside, can create double teams, easy shot for the guards. Henry can pick and pop, hit the three, dominate inside, switch on the perimeter guard. So I feel like with them two healthy and added, we can a hard team to beat.
Take 2 more. Well, Jaden, you have between the 3 starting perimeter guys 1 turnover. I think have you been seeing that in practice? Is that a surprise? I think KJ had the only one. You didn't have any.
That's just credit to the coaches and everything they've been on us about playing Arizona basketball, playing fast, but being smart as well. So the fewer turnovers we have, the more possessions that you want, and as a basketball player, basketball team, you want more shots. That's room for more offensive rebounds and more points.
All right, that is Jaden Bradley with some comments after the game last night. He got into a number of things that we'll talk about as we move on in our show today, including the fact that there were times in that game on Monday night when they had the 2 big men on the floor at the same time with Mo Krivas and Henry Vesar. We'll get into that as well. But I thought, just overall a pretty nice, solid performance in the opening game for that young man starting. He had never started a game before here at the University of Arizona. We loved, obviously, the way he played defense. The only thing that I talked about for me that I want to see him get to the line a lot this season. I think he'll do that for this team. That wasn't necessarily necessary for him to do that in the game the other night. No free throws. I think that'll come as we get into more intense competition. But I feel very comfortable. And I asked this question to Tommy last week, and he kind of scoffed at it. But I feel a lot more confidence with this point guard than I have with the last 2.
Well, I'll just say with Jaden, he's been through a little bit coming into here. Coming out of Alabama, one of the top guards in the nation, went to Alabama, kind of, had a transfer to kind of take his position or whatnot. And I think he learned from that a little bit. And then he came over here, bought into the system, played behind guys, did things the right way. Didn't cry when he wasn't getting that much playing time. He just kept working. He worked his way into the rotation. You have to respect that, and I think there's a certain level of respect that all these guys have for each other. Caleb Love, all those guys respect him because of watching him persevere through the different things he had to go through at North Carolina. And then you have KJ Lewis. He's a guy that's underrated. So these guys got stuff to prove, and I think that's what they're drawing each other together with. They all have something to prove. I think last year the guard had a lot of pressure on him. I mean, people was talking about him being the next NBA player, the next best guard at the U of A. He could be the best guard. I hate when they crown the guys before their career is over. Like, let them get through their career before Noah's the best quarterback at the U of A. Let them get through it.
Kelvin, what about guys they crown when they get on campus as 17-year-olds?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have an issue. Well, even after 1 or 2 years, bro. Like, no, you have to have a full career before I can crown you one of the best. You can have a great season. I mean, that's great. I can say you had one of the best seasons ever, but to say the best ever, I have a little issue how we crown guys so fast. But I just think that these guys are guys that have been through it a little bit. KJ Lewis played on a high school team where they had guys going straight to the NBA, not quite getting all the credit that he deserved. He tried the NBA, and same with Caleb Love, and not quite yet, right? You got to go back to college, So I just think these guys got some stuff to prove.
Real quick, DK, back to your point about this point guard versus previous years. I think Jaden Bradley showed last year with that assist turnover ratio, never taking plays off on defense. I think for me personally, the best teams I've ever seen in college are the teams with the steady point guard who you know what you're going to get from them night in, night out. A guy who one night will give you 35 and the next night give you 2, going 1 for 15. And that inconsistent play, Kelvin, from that lead guard position, you really want that to be a steady, you know what you're going to get night in, night out. And it's not to say that Kirk Rivas wasn't great. It's not to say that, a lot of the point guards in recent memory have had their bright spots and their big moments. But if it's not a consistent thing, Kelvin, then you're really letting your team down. If one night you got 5 turnovers and 1 assist, next night it's 10 assists and a turnover. I mean, one of DK's favorite point guards for the Cavs of all time, you know everything you were going to get every single night because Mark Price was going to bring it that same thing every single night. And that's the kind of guy, personally, I'd rather have a guy who's averaging 12 points and 4 assists than a guy with 20 and 10 that's super up and down and inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get night in, night out.
All right, that is our spotlight on Jaden Bradley ahead of today's game against Old Dominion.
As today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
And don't forget, coming up, it is your Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. Who is going to be that Wildcat that dominates the boards this particular contest? Might be a Wildcat with the most rebounds. Might be the U of A star with just the impactful grabs off the glass. We'll tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight on the postgame show. It's Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Wildcats and Old Dominion. Tip-off at 2 o'clock today at McHale Center. We've got you till 1:30 when we hand it over to Brian Jeffries and Ryan Hansen for today's call. How about a shout-out to, and we'll get to the scoreboard here, but I'm going to give them a shout-out now. How about a shout-out to Arizona Women's Volleyball last night, upsetting number 8 Kansas at McHale Center, and Matt Muehlbach was on the play-by-play of that game on ESPN.
Is that his first?
Plus. I don't know if I've ever heard Matt Muehlbach do play-by-play before.
I've heard him, call a lot of U of A basketball, but not a lot of volleyball.
No, never any volleyball for sure, but never play-by-play. I was driving, and I'm thinking, that sounds like Matt, but I'm not sure. Then he posted a picture of himself with Mackenzie, the sideline reporter for the Wildcats, as well as McKenna Martin, who does the analyst work for those volleyball games on ESPN+. So shout out to Matt. Did a great job for at least the part that I listened to while I was on my way to the arena to watch that contest. Very huge win. We'll dive a little bit more into that as well as we move along. Arizona Game Day, Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day continues when we come back. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
Not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
It's November and the weather is cooling down. Now is the time to have your furnace serviced to ensure that it's operating safe and efficient. We also have a $79 garbage disposal service. And check out our monthly plumbing specials on our website. Call Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing for all your plumbing and heating needs at 520-492-0748 or picturerockscooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE Eagle.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Previs turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for 2. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps. Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Skip pass down baseline. Polisi turns, has the ball knocked away, stolen. Vasar, bounce pass headed to Bryant. Carter, jump step into the lane, lays it up and good.
Finally able to knock one in after the Cats had missed 7 straight from the field. It's Carter Bryant.
Carter Bryant playing his first collegiate game on Monday night for your Arizona Wildcats. The freshman forward out of Riverside, California. Corona Centennial High School there. 6'8", had 6 points in his debut, a McDonald's All-American. Last year, averaged 17 points and 9 rebounds as a high school senior. He is the nephew of Shaquilla Torres, who played some volleyball here at the University of Arizona back during 2011 and 2013 for Dave Rubio. So he has gotten some relatives that have come through this program, and now Carter Bryant arrives on the scene as well. And he's going to be coming off the bench, obviously, to start his career. He got 15 minutes in game number 1, 2 of 5 from the floor, though. Did miss all 3 of his 3-point shots, but finished the game with 6 points, had 1 rebound, did turn it over a few times, and had 4 fouls to go along with 1 steal. But Carter talks about the mentality that he has to bring as a freshman coming off the bench.
Kind of a thing where you understand that everybody's getting their rhythm. When the game first starts, the starters kind of have the luxury of not necessarily easing into it, but everybody's kind of trying to find their rhythm, get to their spots, kind of get a feel for the game. You don't want to be too physical. You don't want to be overly physical. You don't want to be allowing the other team to be too physical and not let us get into our sets, but kind of taking advantage of when I get in the game, knowing that other team starters are still going to be in because other teams aren't too deep. So just constantly attacking them, putting pressure on the rim, whether I'm in for 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, the rest of the half, but just constantly putting pressure on the starters on the other team and the key guys on other teams. Because other teams are only going to play 6, 7, 8 guys maybe, and we have the capability to play deep into our bench. So just allowing our starters to get a break and to get a breather. And whenever they're ready to come back in, I'm just playing to the best of my abilities for however long I'm in the game.
Well, and I said it in the pregame show the other day, guys. This kid just sounds like he has a vast knowledge of the game of basketball at such a young age. And it's just, I just love listening to him talk the game the way that he talks the game, for sure. All right, let's also hear from Tommy Lloyd on the freshman Carter Bryant.
Carter played with some physicality, which was good to see. And you know, every second Carter's on the court, there's a lot of teaching moments. And he's getting better by the day. And, you know, he needs these experiences, positive and negative, to grow from. All the guys do. All the guys need. You learn from good things, you learn from bad things. And so, you know, that our job as a staff is to help them understand that stuff.
One of my favorite teaching methods from Coach Lute Olson was the quick hook followed by Kelvin, the sit over here next to me. I got something to talk to you about. And you can do that when you have the luxury of having a deep bench. So that idea of having guys at different positions that you can bring in, clearly Carter Bryant, he's about as smooth a freshman, especially for that size, you're going to see. But what you heard Coach say right there, DK, is the negatives. There's going to be a lot of teaching moments because mistakes happen, and mistakes happening within that flow. So having the luxury, Kelvin, especially being able to get guys in there and have them come down and sit down next to the coach immediately after a play happens, such a great teaching tool.
Yeah, I can't hear. Yeah, sorry.
So let's hear some more from Carter Bryant. And one of the guys that he talked about, Carter, that he's kind of garnered and kind of gravitated to was Jaden Bradley, and really what he is learning from Jaden Bradley.
I mean, I think the biggest thing I've learned is just the consistency of their work. I mean, everybody sees it. Jaden has made a huge jump offensively this year in terms of shooting the basketball, and that's a testament to his work. And I think seeing these guys that are older than me, kind of being in the gym with them whenever they go to shoot, I'm with them shooting, watching film with other guys, watching film with all the coaches. It's just a thing where you have to constantly get better at your craft.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's and again, you want your younger guys watching the older guys, gravitating to what they do. We talk about it all the time. Learn how to be a professional. Learn how to be a college athlete. And again, Jaden Bradley is definitely a good guy for Carter to be watching in that respect.
Yes, he is, because he plays hard. I mean, he's a guy that didn't necessarily come in as the shooter and having all the skills necessary, like the pretty shooting skills that everybody else has. But this kid Carter has seen him working on it, and that's what he wanted to learn. Like, how can I figure out a way to get in the lineup, get more playing time? And it's exactly how Bradley did. You play tough defense, you do all the little things that get you noticed. But I think, again, I said it, he's always going to say the right things, and because he has somebody in his ear, he has a mentor, a father in his ear that makes him understand that, hey, it's what you come out and do every day is what you're going to be judged on.
And what advice did Carter Bryant get from Jaden Bradley?
I wouldn't say he necessarily gave me any pointers, but I think the biggest thing I've learned from him, along with the other guards, is just guarding these dudes, because it's, like I said, it's different. It's a jump from high school to playing college basketball, especially at this level, and just trust me, if you would have saw me the first 3 weeks of practice, they were beating up on me. Anytime they got a switch on me, it was just like, okay, we're going at this kid. We're going to make him work. So I think I'm grateful for them doing that, because it's got me to the point where I am now, where I'm able to pick up fast guards that are smaller than me. I'm able to switch on a big. So I think that's just been the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's Carter Bryant, again, talking about some of the things he has taken away from Jaden Bradley this season, and going to be fun to watch him as he continues on this season. His father is a college basketball player at Long Beach State, so a young man who's grown up around the game, understands the game, and is really gonna. I mean, already starting to get some love on draft boards coming out. Again, we just talked about anointing, but this is a young man that has a high ceiling, and he's already on a lot of first round draft boards. Coming into college.
I mean, he comes in with some intangibles. 6'8", can handle the ball, can shoot the ball, shows a high IQ, and he shows some maturity. I mean, when you're listening to him, so a lot of times those are the type of people that you're interested in as far as the NBA is concerned. You're looking for guys that have the measurables that you can get in there and teach the stuff that you want them to do in the NBA.
Yeah, not only that, but you're talking about a guy with the measurables who clearly does not take plays off, because Carter Bryant came in with this reputation of being a defensive guy, and it shows. I mean, just through the exhibition games in that first game, clearly he just like Jaden Bradley did on that play we just talked about where he wasn't celebrating his stuff. I mean, Carter Bryant, Kelvin, his head is in the game. He's playing it like a vet. He's playing it like a guy who's been around the block a bit, because clearly he's had some mentors. You talk about guys and his dad obviously playing college ball, like the idea of having people who've been there, done that. How do you get to the next level? Well, you be coachable, have the measurables already, and you don't take plays off and be committed to playing defense.
All right, let's tell you a little bit about what's coming up in hour number 2 of our show today.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we're going to dive into the scoreboard. There are some games today involving ranked teams. There was a game last night involving 2 ranked teams, including one from the Big 12. Our view from courtside, we'll chat with Bruce Pascoe, the longtime beat writer for the Arizona men's basketball team. Henry Vasar made his return to the court after sitting out all of last year and redshirting. Scored 8 points in his debut, 17 minutes. Even got into a little bit of a dust-up out on the floor, and we'll hear what the head coach had to say about the results of that. Toby Awaka saw his first time after transferring over from Tennessee. He played 20 minutes in Game 1 and scored 4 points. We'll hear from Toby on what he feels like his role is going to be with this Arizona club. Our opponent scouting report, Mike Jones takes over as the head coach at Old Dominion. We'll get his thoughts on what he wants to see from his squad coming off a 1-point loss in their season opener to the Buffalo Bulls. Of course, keys to the game and starting lineup, all of that is straight ahead as we dive into our show here today. Let's tell you what's happening around the world of college basketball.
Let's take a look at what's happening today around the rest of the country. Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
College basketball Saturday, the first Saturday of the season. But again, games, you'll find big games all throughout the week. And there was one last night on a Friday night between North Carolina and Kansas.
If he had a hand closer to his face, he probably hits it. He had a ton of time. There's a pick. Tip and a steal by Harris. Got his hand in the cookie jar. Oh, and hammer. My goodness. He throws it down. The rip and run. The hammer dunk. And the field house roaring for Wando.
DeJuan Harris with that dunk there for Kansas at the Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Fog Allen Fieldhouse. The number 1 Kansas Jayhawks get a 92-89 win over the North Carolina Tar Heels. It was the big man, Hunter Dickinson, 20 points and 10 rebounds. But how about Zeke Mayo off the bench for Kansas in that game? 7 of 14, hit 3 threes and scored 21 points. A battle of heavyweights early in the season. Did you guys see either that game last night at all?
Oh yeah. No, I'm definitely watching that, man. That's the type of games you gotta see some of that, man. And Kansas, man, looked good. I mean, they were beating North Carolina better than that. North Carolina made a run to get back in it, but Kansas looked tough, man. Just deep.
So I was watching Luka versus Book, because, I mean, I can't miss a Luka versus Book game, but I did see the highlights of that. And both these teams look legit. I mean, as of course they do. But Kansas being that top-ranked team. And Hunter Dickinson, he's another fifth-year guy. I mean, he's been around forever. That's a tough Jayhawk squad.
Other top 10 teams that were in action last night, Duke beat Army by a score of 100 to 58. Games on the docket today. No other upsets or no upsets of note. Well, I should say there was one upset. J-Dub mentioned it a little bit early. Nelly Jr. Joseph had his 45th career double-double for the New Mexico Lobos. 16 points and 12 rebounds. And that was enough to offset Tyler Bilodeau's 23 points and 15 rebounds as New Mexico beats UCLA 72 to 64. So the 22nd ranked Bruins, who are no longer our neighbors but will be on the schedule coming up, go down in their second contest of the season. That's just too bad.
The big takeaway is 36% field goal shooting by the Bruins.
Wow. 36%. Not good.
Sounds like a Cronin offense.
Sounds like a Cronin.
That's my point exactly.
One game involving a top 25 team in progress right now. Number 12, Tennessee, is leading Louisville 65 to 53. And it is Zakai Ziegler with 17 points in that game to go along with 6 assists. Toby Iwaka's old club there. Everything else, we got another game involving ranked teams starting at the same time we do. Number 23, Kentucky will host Bucknell. Bucknell 2-0 to start the year. Later on, we've got 2 really good games. We've got 8th-ranked Baylor. Baylor just going through a gauntlet to start the season. They opened against Gonzaga the other night. We talked about that. Now they will go to Dallas and play Arkansas tonight. So the 16th ranked Razorbacks against the number 8 Bears tonight at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. Of course, that is the home of the Dallas Mavericks, and at the home of the Houston Rockets down in Texas, the Toyota Center tonight. The Cougars will welcome in number 11 Auburn. So we've got a couple of Big 12 SEC. I don't know if that's a Big 12 SEC. Do we do that? Here, I haven't heard that that's the case, but actually I don't think it is, because this game in Houston is the Mattress Firm Battleground 2K24 tournament there. So that I don't think that's any type of an SC.
There's too many tournaments. Like, I know they got the Champions thing, which is only between like the Blue Bloods and so. I mean, I know they did the challenge. That was basically like a 4-letter thing, right? Like ESPN sponsored some kind of challenge between leagues. I'm not sure about the Big 12 if they have a partner for that.
Yeah, no.
Did you hear about the Auburn guys? Got into
that's
crazy.
Right. They had the plane had to go back. Apparently there was some type of altercation between 2 reserves, and it wasn't like a big plane. It wasn't like they were flying commercial. That was one of them charter planes with the 2 guys sitting too close to each other. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, those 2 guys, they flew the flight back, and those 2 guys were left behind, so they are not on the trip to Houston today. Also, the 2-time defending champions are on the court tonight. Number 3, UConn will host New Hampshire. In terms of the Big 12, we gave you 2 of the games tonight already. The only other game on the docket will be the Kansas State Wildcats at home against none other than the team from my hometown, the Cleveland State Vikings. My groomsman, Al Pulowski, will have the radio call on that game for the Vikings. That is a first check of your college football, or college basketball, I should say, on this Saturday.
Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, coming up, we're going to talk to Bruce Pascoe, the beat writer for Arizona basketball, get his thoughts on this team to start the season. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, along with Kelvin Ifan and JW Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for 2. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of the pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Make the right choice for your home when it comes to windows and doors. For more than 20 years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot. Best price, biggest inventory.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rocking K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or RoyalKia.com.
2025 is bringing the biggest change to air conditioning in decades. New EPA regulations mean AC costs could rise by up to 25%. If you've been thinking about replacing your old AC, now's the time. Right Way is offering 0 interest financing and a free furnace when you replace your AC this month. Don't wait till next year when prices go up. Call Right Way today for your free no-obligation estimate. Call 520-549-2697.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. CoolWillies.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
All right, let's dive into this Arizona Wildcats basketball team with the gentleman who has been covering the program for quite a long time. His name is Bruce Pascoe. He is with the Arizona Daily Star. Bruce, what year is this for you now covering Arizona basketball?
DK, you're making me feel old. I think it's 26 or something. I honestly stopped counting, but it was the late 90s. I covered them. Started covering them a couple years after they won the championship.
There you go. So, what for you at the beginning of every year? What are some of the things that you try to get what do you try to get a handle on first to try to begin to dissect what a team is going to be and what an Arizona basketball season is going to look like as you try to prepare to present this to your readers?
Just kind of trying to get a feel for, what the strengths and weaknesses of this team. But I think particularly, early season, I actually find the early season the most interesting, November, December, because it is kind of shaping up how the rotation is going to work. And, what is this thing? Because you can, we all guess and, sometimes have a pretty good idea going in, but sometimes you don't really know until this team gets out there and hits the floor. And I think, Tommy Lloyd's first year is probably the best example of that. You knew there was some talent left over from Sean Miller, but you didn't know what was going to happen. And we all talked about it and we were all looking at it, and that was the big thing. And then boom, they come out and they just steamroller everybody. And it was a real surprise. And so it's just a lot of, just a lot of feeling of, what are we looking at here and trying to assess that. And it's really interesting because you don't have much track record, where later in the season, what this team is, obviously. So just a lot of ways to kind of look at, what's ahead, really, basically.
Well, we know they got three guards that have been together now, are going on year 2 together. We talked at the top of the show how critical that is when you've got guards who are familiar with each other, who have made a point of saying that they've been in the gym trying to refine their play with each other. You've got 2 of those 3 guards who can really defend at that end of the floor in KJ Lewis and obviously Jaden Bradley. What do you like about these 3 guys together? And is there can you point to another time in your career here where we've had something similar to these 3 guys?
Wow, you probably have to go back a ways on 3 perimeter guys of that level, but then again, we haven't seen, exactly how they're going to all play out together. But, certainly in this era, you've had I remember, you've had certainly 3 big guys. I remember during the Russ Pennell year, but they were different positions. There was, Nick Wise, Chase Buttinger, and Jordan Hill up front, and they were all, 3, like a triangle in that sense. These are 3 wings, and you're right, the strength of this team. And as Tommy Lloyd has said, it's really unusual in this day and age where you have guys, 3 starters that are, Bradley and Lewis actually were bench players last year, but, they weren't playing like that a lot. And so to have that kind of experience coming back combined with a, preseason All-American, that's just highly unusual in this day and age. Usually one of those guys is going to peel off to the pros or peel off to the portal and make some, look for some more money and that way or whatever. And, to have I think that's the thing, just the not only experience, but just the connectedness that they seem to have. And we certainly saw that on display in their, in the preseason and especially on the opener on Monday, just the way those guys play together and how efficient and productive they are. And that really jumped out. I mean, you don't want to make too much out of, a low major type opponent and what was happening, but you could see the way those guys are connected. And that's, again, really unusual.
Bruce Pascoe joining us. He is the beat writer for the Arizona Daily Star. It is your scouting report, and your scouting report is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates. Kaiser serving Southern Arizona for more than 25 years. What issues do you see early with this team, Bruce, that obviously I think maybe the big issue, at least we thought going into the first game, was going to be, how quickly Moteus Krivas could come back, what fitness would he be in? Clearly, they're going to limit him through these first few games, just 10 minutes in game one.
Yeah.
Do you see any other major issues with this team as we start this season?
Well, I think obviously that's the biggest one, but I think this team is a little more, especially up front, a little more uncertain, whereas I think the last few years with Tommy Lloyd, there was a little more clarity as far as how the rotation was probably going to work out and what lineups work together. I think because there are a little more options up front, I mean, you saw the way he went with Besar and Krivas when Krivas was playing the other night, and that has a tremendously different look and, skill sets than if you have Trey Townsend and Tobey Waka in there. Or do you mix one of those, mix them up, and what's the best thing? And I think that's what Tommy Lloyd's got to figure out, as well as on the wing. And where do you put Carter Bryant? I mean, he might be the most skilled potential upside guy on the team. And, he's shown it at the time. He struggled in the opener, but he's shown it and they know it. And so where do you work him in? And so I think that's kind of the biggest thing. And I know every year you have, there's questions about rotations. Like I said, that's to me what's really interesting, how that's all developing. But I think this year there may be a little more of that going on up front. And I think, Tommy Lloyd indicated the other day after the press conference, I was asking about this game Saturday, and he's just like, he wasn't even talking about Old Dominion as much as he said, look, I got to figure this out. I got to, we can't have completely different, I got to figure out, whether we want completely different looks or maybe we, it doesn't, how can I make this work the most effectively so there won't be a big drop off or whatever. And again, every time you go through that, but I think particularly up front, it's maybe a little more acute that they have to go through this year, and combined with the fact that they don't have 3 or 4 warm-up games. They have 2, and then they're going to Wisconsin next week. So there's a little more urgency there, too.
Did you get a sense then that there was a bit of a concern about, obviously they got off to that fast start at 20-2, but then things kind of got a little bit murky in the middle? Did you sense that there was a little bit of concern about that from him?
Yeah, I mean, part of it, as he said, it's true. It's human nature. I mean, you're never going to you don't just keep extrapolating the 20-2s all the way up. There's going to be some, you can't sustain that. But I think there was a time, and I was looking through the subs versus the scores, and there was a time when I remember that he went with a straight 5-man. He went 5 for 5, substituting guys, and the new group that came in, which was mostly starters, by the way, actually only went 11-9 over the next however many minutes it was. So there was I think it was that, but it was just within a basket, and so there was a drop off there. And so I think whether it's momentum or chemistry of guys working together, I think that was a little bit of a concern. And and maybe it seems like it's splitting hairs because he still won that game by 29 points, but I think he was looking for a little more cohesion.
Chatting with Bruce Pascoe from the Arizona Daily Star, writes the beat for Arizona men's basketball, has been doing so for 26 years. He is your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser has been serving Arizona for more than 25 years. Bruce, I've been talking a lot about Henry Vesar in the early part of this season. I think he's maybe going to be the X factor. I mean, I loved what the small sample size we saw from him 2 years ago. I really liked a lot of what I saw, especially his ability to pass the basketball as a 7-footer. Do you share that? Do you think this could be a young man that kind of really bursts on the scene and maybe a lot of people aren't talking about or thinking about, but this could be a real X factor guy for this team?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a surprise, at least to me, and we don't see a lot of preseason to know, but what we've seen of him, I think he's the biggest surprise. And I think, 2 years ago, he showed flashes that you saw his mobility, his ability to shoot. He's a pretty good runner for a 7-footer, but he kind of dropped off that bench there by the end of December, his freshman year, because I think, there's questions about his toughness and could he handle the physical games coming up and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, last year he gets hurt, which maybe turns out to be a blessing in disguise because he is hurt, and then he goes in, and then when he comes back in January, he's got nothing to do but bang up against Umar Balo and practice every day and work on that and work on his game. And here we are, basically his 3rd year in college. he is a different player, and Lloyd has indicated that as well. And looks like a guy. I thought going in he might be still the 9th guy based on what we had seen. Now he looks like he could be the 6th or 7th guy. In fact, he already has been. And what will be interesting to see is if Lloyd, who's been pretty fixed in his rotations, does he, to what we were talking about earlier, does he, go with Basar more in certain matchups because of what he sees in an opponent, maybe go with him and Krivas together, or him and Trey Townsend together, or whatever, he certainly have options to do that. And you're right. He, however he ends up, whatever role he ends up playing, it seems like he's going to be a pretty significant factor for them. And maybe adds a lot to this team that we didn't know going in.
When we chatted with Anthony Dell'Orso a few weeks ago, one of the things you asked him about just kind of was, if he was okay with coming off the bench. And I thought his line was interesting, or his Monday night was interesting because he went 1 for 9. He showed a lot of confidence in keeping shooting the ball, even though he wasn't making shots. But I also wonder how much of that is, he sees all these numbers and he's like, I got to prove something here early. If I'm going to think that I'm going to continue to get 18 minutes a game with all these other guys, and maybe that might have been another reason why he kept shooting the balls. Like, I got to try to put one in the basket so I can show I can score.
Yeah. I think there's probably something to that. I think, you look at it up and down the board, the returning guys played really well on Monday, and pretty much all the new guys did not. And then that's got to be at least some of that. Maybe it's just jitters of actually being out there with a new uniform for the first time in a real game. There's that, but I think some of it is like, where do I fit in? And this is kind of an open tryout to fit into the rotation, before these big games coming up. But I think they'll have some final tweaks, in December. But that's part of it, because Dell'Orso is a guy who could play 18, 20 minutes a game, or he could play 5 if it doesn't work out for him and the matchups. And he's a guy too who, he was the leading scorer and pretty good 3-point shooter at Campbell last year, and it's a big adjustment. I think for anybody, but it does sound like he has the mentality. I mean, I had heard during his recruitment that I think he pretty much volunteered, hey, I'm willing to come. Well, I think Lloyd said something to the effect of, and I'd heard it elsewhere too, that he basically said, I'd rather play off the bench at this program than any of these other programs that are recruiting me or whatever, something along those lines. And I think that's honestly why it was such a quick recruitment, because they weren't sure what was going to happen with Caleb Love, but they knew if he came back that they weren't going to need another starter. So they didn't want to recruit a guy who was, as a lot of transfer portal guys want to start. They want, they're only coming if they're going to start. They couldn't tell Dell'Orso that, but once he said it's okay, then they knew they could take him either way, whether Love came back or not. And that's the way it worked out, that Love came back. And now he's in that role. But to your point, he does need to still fight for minutes, and that's going to be a thing.
What were your takeaways, Bruce, from Big 12? You went to Kansas City. What were your kind of takeaways from that environment at Big 12 Media Day, first time there?
Well, I mean, I think we kind of knew some of this coming in, but it was just, Arizona's not the big dog. Like they were just another team there. I mean, some of it just because it was in Kansas City, so all the media, a lot of local media, of course, was surrounding Bill Self or Jerome Tang or whatever, TJ Altenberger at Iowa State. A lot, those teams took a lot of the focus, and maybe in a way it's good for Arizona because it takes them, focus off of them, and maybe gives them a little chip on their shoulder that even though they're the 10th ranked team, they're still just another team in the Big 12, and they got to prove it, which is different than the Pac-12. You go every year, and Arizona was pretty much going to be picked 1 or 2 pretty much every year. And that was just, they were the big deal. And, UCLA was as well or whatever, but it was a different deal. They're in a bigger pond now. And there's that. And I think just in general it was a little bit more businessy. It was like, they just more serious, I guess you'd say, whereas the Pac-12 was, they had it in San Francisco. You're on a rooftop, this building in South of Market, and looking out the bay, and these appetizers and desserts are themed by the schools, all this stuff. And then they go to Vegas. The last couple of years they had it in Vegas, and there's all kinds of, stuff going on there. And then this one was in an arena in Kansas City. It was like basketball, just a different feel that way.
All right. Well, we'll see how this new conference plugs along. There's some tough teams.
Yeah.
We've already seen Baylor get their brains beat out by Gonzaga this season.
Yeah.
Kansas put a nice whooping, although it got close at the end on North Carolina last night. Some tough matchups are on the horizon as we get into this new conference. Bruce, we always appreciate the chance to talk to you. We look forward to doing it again later in the season.
All right, good deal. Thanks for having me.
All right, Bruce Pascoe. He is the not the play-by-play. He is the beat writer for your Arizona basketball team.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We have the Arizona Wildcats covered on game day like no one else. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we're going to chat, we'll get into a little bit more about Henry Vesar coming up in the next segment and his first game in a full year after redshirting last year. Again, 15 minutes on Monday night, and he scored 6 points. It's Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, getting you set for the Wildcats and Old Dominion at McHale Center with tip-off coming up at 2 o'clock. Our coverage right up to 1:30 when the network, Brian Jeffries and Ryan Hansen, take over, along with J.W. Madden and the captain, Kelvin Ifan. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, the Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Come out to Dave & Buster's, the best place outside of the stadium to see the games this football season. Monday and Thursday, get all-you-can-eat wings with game card for $19.99. Sunday, get in on the chance to win a big game watch party at Dave & Buster's in front of the big screen, plus other big prizes and weekly winners. Join them now through October 22nd, all day, every day. They'll be offering $5 22-ounce drafts only at Dave & Buster's. Make Dave & Buster's your place to watch the games.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE Eagle.
Sean Furrier here for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, a proud sponsor of Arizona Athletics since 1968.
And this year, the Wildcats are driving into the Big 12. But we've been down this road before. From the WAC to the PAC, it's never been about the conference. It's always been about the Wildcats. And you can count on the Cats. And you can count on Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care for the very best deals on tires and award-winning auto care. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, since 1960, we're here to get you there. Go Cats!
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
That's the other way. Love out top. Vasar, he'll spring a three out there. He's got it. Lexus of Tucson. Lexus. 33 for Henry Vasar.
We talked about how comfortable he looked. Boy, that was in rhythm. First shot of the season for him.
Henry Vasar, again, his first game back. Missed all of last season, redshirted, had an elbow injury. Played 29 games here as a freshman 2 seasons ago, including a 16-point performance as a freshman. First game, though, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, had 1 block. Also had a steal in the opener. And so impressive there to see Henry Vasar back. Henry, again, talked about how difficult it is to sit out an entire season and not play.
No, it's definitely hard. Like, for any basketball player, like, we love to compete. So it was hard, like, just sitting out for a year and not playing any games. But overall, I think it was a better thing for me. I sat out, and I was able to just work out and have, like, a double off season, like, just get better and work on my craft. I think it definitely helped me.
And again, Henry Vasar is a versatile player. He can play inside at 7 foot, but he also has the ability to be out on the perimeter, at least even maybe out a little bit closer on the elbow and move the ball around within this offense to different people. And Tommy Lloyd says he feels, at least he was asked about the potential of Henry kind of being a guy that could play that 4 spot for the Arizona Wildcats.
Listen, I've been pushing him. I've been pushing Henry to grow there. If Henry wants to play some minutes at the 4, he's got to be versatile. He's got to switch some. We also have to have a plan maybe to protect him some. So, but I feel good, and I'm not going to hold those guys back because if they want to be the players they want to be, that they're going to have to get in some uncomfortable positions and figure some things out. And so, but I feel good that with the schemes we want to use defensively, that they're going to be able to. We're not going to have to limit ourselves based on them.
So, guys, a couple things on that. One, Henry Vasar at the 4, is that a position that potentially we could see him get quality and potential long-term minutes at? And when Tommy talks about protecting him, is he talking more defensively to try to keep him out of foul trouble? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I definitely think defensively. I think your position is what you can guard. If you can't guard a 4 or you can't guard a 3, then you can't play offense as a 3 because you become a liability. So I think it's more about being able to defend 4s and not letting guys get around you. I think in this day and age, what you have to watch out for is most teams play small 4s, more like Townsend, guys that could beat you off the dribble, guys that are fast in transition. So that's where you get in trouble when you have 2 7-footers out there, is that if you got guys that can put the ball on the floor or that can shoot from the perimeter and they get caught up in one of those switches, or if they get it'll be tough for them to guard.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue for me is for young bigs, you just want them to be comfortable in whatever role it is that they're doing. So switching things up and throwing a bunch of new stuff at Mr. Vasar there. At the 4, I love his face-up game. I think he's ideally suited. But like Kelvin just said so eloquently, you can't guard 4s, you can't play 4. It's who you guard is what spot you are in the rotation. So as far as him sliding in there, we all have this vision of Henry Vasar at the elbow throwing a high-low to Mount Crevis under the basket for a dunk. And I think we'll probably see that a couple of times this year. But how much that lineup they do, there's a lot of other options, fellas, at that 4, especially if they want to go small. So right now, I just think Henry just needs to play his game. Don't try to do too much like we've been talking about with the young guards. Just play within yourself. Do what you're good at. If you get an open shot, shoot it, but do not live out there at the three-point line. I really like Henry's aggressiveness going to the rim more than anything. Just mix it up and do what you need to do at that 5 spot and come along slowly come along and get some minutes at the 4. But I don't think he's going to be asked too much of that, Kelvin, right from the start.
And the other thing I said when you have taller 4s, 6'11", 7-foot guys, is they got to be big too. They can't just be out on the perimeter going against the 6'6" guy or the 6'8" guy. They have to take that guy into the post as well and punish him in the post. And you have to rebound. To me, I'm looking at these guys, and I didn't like the defensive rebounds. Now, you can say, the big fella from Tennessee, Walker, took all the rebounds, or you can say they didn't go in there and battle for him. So they're going to have to go in there and battle for some defensive rebounds if they really want playing time, because to me, that's where Coach Lloyd is going to be on those guys at, is offensive and defensive rebounding. And they did a pretty good job offensive rebounding in the last game, but defensively, they only had 1 rebound together.
And we'll get to our keys, right? But especially tonight, because if you watched that game or looked at the box score, the reason Old Dominion won that game, 23, was it? 22 offensive rebounds in that game. So you definitely got to make sure you take care of the defensive glass.
Mo Krivas returned as well. He'd been dealing with an ankle injury throughout the early part of the training camp and did not play in either of the 2 exhibition games. Just 10 minutes in the game, but a productive 10 minutes as he scored 9 points and grabbed 5 rebounds and went to the line 8 times in those 10 minutes. Tommy Lloyd on getting Big Mo back out there.
I mean, obviously, he played 10 minutes. I think that was the goal, is to kind of keep him there. Just it's probably the most he's went up and down consecutively. Even considering in practices. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's on target. I think there's a layup or 2 that I would have liked to seen him cash in on, but I guess that's maybe I want a little bit too much sometimes, but this is the deal. I know that kid's going to be able to deliver, so I have high expectations for him.
And guys, we saw for the first time Mo and Henry together on the court at the same time. What do we take away from that?
Oh, I thought we had I like it because again, Vazar got some ball handling skills. I mean, he can play from the perimeter. He's real slick. He can put the ball on the floor 2 or 3 times and make something happen. And I think he's a guy capable of making that high-low pass. But again, to me, it's going to be defensive end. When you play against real teams, can you guys play defense and be in the game together without the other team dominating the offensive glass?
I mean, the best version we saw of high-low is probably Tabellas to Coloco, right? And that was 4 years ago. And what you're talking about is a guy in Tabellas, his range didn't go out to 22 feet, but guess what? He was very reliable from 18 feet and in. So in order to be able to be in that spot, you need to be a threat to put the ball on the ground, like Kelvin just said. You got to be a threat to square up, triple threat, get by your man, and put pressure on the rim, as well as being able to knock down that shot from the elbow. And when that happens, defensive pressure comes up. It comes up generally from the paint. That's where you get that high-low over the top of the defense. So, yeah, I think Mr. Vazar is suited very well with his skill set to be in that role. The question, like Kelvin said, is who are you going to guard? Can you switch out and move your feet on the perimeter? Because you're going to be asked to do that defensively, and you'll see minutes at the 4 come along as he shows on film, Henry Vazar, that he's able to move his feet out on the perimeter on switches more than anything else.
KJ Lewis on being out there with a 7-footer and a 7'2" player.
Mo's been out kind of the whole preseason. Like a few days ago was his first day back, and it's still kind of here and there. They're kind of taking him out just to be cautious, but we're getting a few reps with both of them in.
Yeah, and Tommy Lloyd, what did you like about your 2 big men out there together?
They're 2 really good players, and they're getting their footing, over here in our program, and kind of been through the trials and tribulations. So it was great to see them out there together, and it's going to be interesting to see how we can kind of utilize their strengths over the course of the year.
How often do you see that happening? That's obviously.
I mean, Bruce, I don't know. I mean, that's. I'm going to try to figure out how to play some effective lineups. I probably got to sit down the next few days and kind of map things out a little bit better, so I end up there with the right combinations. I've told you forever, I kind of like let it happen naturally, and I'm probably at a point where I probably got to get involved and kind of try to play to our strengths a little bit more. So, we'll see. I mean, I think that could happen at times with certain lineups. It probably depends on matchups at both ends.
So what do you think that means when he says that? That I've got to begin to play to our strengths more? Clearly, this is a coach that has a lot of options and it sounds like he hasn't quite necessarily maybe thought real deep at this point, like what he wants to do in terms of all of these options. But obviously, with games against pretty good teams coming up, he wants to have a better handle on what those strengths are going to be.
Well, real quick, I think, to me, you heard him say preseason he'd like to be a team that averages more free throws than three-point attempts. So you're talking about aggressive guard play, getting to the rim. But more than anything, those three-pointers we saw a lot of last year and the year before, that's settling. And especially against the 2-3 zone. We talked about that first segment. You're going to see a lot of zone this year when you play a flow offense. Not settling for those threes. And the strengths of this team, you just talked about it right there. Krivas, when he's healthy, is a bucket. I mean, under the rim. What's he shooting, like 95% from the field? I mean, he's just dropping it in down there. He creates a lot of space for himself. He has hooks over both shoulder. So when you have a strength like that at the rim, if you're jacking up 25-footers, guys, with 10, 15 seconds left in the shot clock, Kelvin, I'm interested to hear what you think about what their strengths are. But to me, it just means limit the 3 points because you've got great driving guards who can put pressure, get teams in foul trouble, and you've got great bigs who can finish around the rim.
And I'll add to that, J-Dub, is this. You want to get in the paint and take those shots because when you shoot a gang of threes, DK, the rebound when you miss is long, and it takes your big 7-footers out of opportunities to rebound that. That's why I said most teams like to run zones against you to force you to shoot the threes. So now your 7-footer is in a chase down competition versus a 6'3" or 6'4" guy. Usually that 6'4" guy is going to win that. So a lot of times you want your guards getting in the paint, and even if they don't pass it, take those shots because now you have those nice rebounds that go right up in the sky, and now the tallest guy, the highest jumping guy gets the rebound. So it's going to be important for those guards to put pressure on the lane to make these bigs effective and to get them the ball in the post and get them a touch here and there to make sure that the defense have to respect them.
All right, we'll update you a score on your Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers scoreboard. One top 25 game has gone final already today. Number 12, Tennessee, knocks off Louisville down in Louisville at the KFC Yum Center. I always thought that was an interesting name for a building. But Tennessee goes on the road and wins by 22 at Louisville, as obviously Louisville's still trying to find and put their program back together.
That's a big building.
Yeah,
right?
Have not quite figured all of that out yet. All right, let's pass to the game. Let's find out who that Old Dominion player is going to be that could get underneath the skin of our Arizona Wildcats today.
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at bepestfree.com.
All right, this was a team that went 7-25 last season, Old Dominion, and as a result, they've got a new head coach in Mike Jones. He is a graduate of the Old Dominion University, so comes back in, and we'll hear from him coming up a little bit later. Comes in with a lot of pride in what he wants to see from this team, but it's a team that's got 13 new players, much like the team that we saw last Monday here, Canisius, who had a whole lot of different players as well. So we're going to be seeing some guys out here that he's still trying to figure out, but who might be that pest today for you, Calvin?
Well, I'm going to go with R.J. Blakeney. He's a guy that has a little experience, can score the ball a little bit, 6'6", so he has some size and athletic ability. So, to me, those type of guys you always got to be leery of.
R.J. Blakeney will be the guy for Kelvin. Did not necessarily score much in game one, just 5 points, but again, a guy who, like you said, could find his way here in game number 2.
That was going to be my guy. I'll tell you why, because 82 starts. So he comes over from Dayton. Remember, Arizona played Dayton in the NCAA tournament. He left the year before that, but that's the one dude coming back But since Kelvin took him, I'll just go with our Robert Davis Jr. I mean, he was their leading scorer in that game, first game. Anytime you can get a guy who's out there filling it up, Kelvin, from the guard spot, I mean, it's real dangerous when one guy gets it going. We've seen it so many times in the NCAA tournament. So against a team where the scoring margin in Arizona is obviously a big favorite. It's those guards who can really fill it up that you worry about shading too much defense over because you got to worry about what they're doing. So I'll go with Robert Davis Jr.
All right, so Robert Davis Jr., he had 25 points in the 1-point loss to Buffalo. That was a home game for Old Dominion the other night. Made 8 3-point shots in that game. All 8 of his field goals came from behind the arc. So better find him behind the arc today.
8 for 11.
For sure, 8 for 11 indeed. I'm going to go with a Stephon Walker as my pest of the game. Obviously, a big man who can score, but also can control the boards for this team. And if you're going to want to beat Arizona, you're going to have to get that ball off the basket and try to limit possessions. And this is a guy that had 8 offensive rebounds to go along with 5 at the defensive end. So he's shown that he can crash the boards at both ends of the floor. So I'm going to go with Stephon Walker as my pest. So Stephon Walker, R.J. Blakeney, and Robert Davis Jr. are the guys we think will get underneath Arizona's skin today at McHale Center.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit BePestFree.com.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or RoyalKia.com.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Sean Furrier here for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, a proud sponsor of Arizona Athletics since 1968. And this year, the Wildcats are driving into the Big 12. But we've been down this road before. From the WAC to the PAC, it's never been about the conference. It's always been about the Wildcats. And you can count on the Cats. And you can count on Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care for the very best deals on tires and award-winning auto care. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, since 1960, we're here to get you there. Go Cats!
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rockin' K. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Here's Love, 3 ball straight away for the Wildcats. Rims out, no good. Waka, the rebound, and he'll slam it home.
Muscling and out-muscling those Golden Griffins for an offensive putback.
Toby Awaka. His first game as an Arizona Wildcat on Monday night. The 6'8" transfer out of Hyde Park, New York. Tennessee volunteer the last 2 seasons. Played here a few years ago when the Vols came to town for that December non-conference game. In the early part of the Tommy Lloyd era. 4 points, 9 rebounds in his Arizona debut, and averaged a double-double in the 2 exhibition games, did Toby Awaka. So we know one thing for sure from this young man. Rebounding is something that he is going to bring to the table.
I would say tough, gritty, hard-nosed. Pride myself on rebounding the basketball, playing defense, sort of doing all the little things to help my team win. Obviously, scoring, I'm trying to improve in, being more comfortable making playmaking decisions, things of that nature. So I think that's a good little synopsis, you know.
You kind of had to be that way at Tennessee, right? That's how Coach Barnes preached it?
Yeah. Coach Barnes is definitely heavy on effort, defense, making game-winning plays. So I definitely think that's something he definitely taught me for sure.
Interesting, when we were talking with Bruce Pascoe, the beat writer for the Arizona Wildcats men's basketball team, that he pointed out when I was kind of talking about Anthony Del Orso's struggles in that game, the 3 transfers combined offensively to shoot just 3 for 16 in that game. Toby Awaka was 1 for 3. Trey Townsend was just 1 for 4. They were combined 1 for 6 from 3, with obviously Del Orso and Townsend being the primary 2 in that threesome that are going to shoot the ball from behind the arc. Obviously, they played 2 games, 2 exhibition games in McHale, but the lights go on for real Monday night, and I'm sure there were, guys, some jitters for those 3 young men in their first game.
I'm not worried about Townsend and Walker at all because they rebounded the basketball and they played defense. And to me, that's what I'm really looking for. I think we have plenty scoring. I think for sure Townsend is going to be a guy that can score for you around the rim. It just depends on how much he's trying to show how good he's at shooting threes. But I think he's a guy that's proven that he can score in the paint as much as he won't. I think most of the missed shots came from Del Orso, though. I mean, he went 1 for 9.
Yeah.
I mean, he missed 8 shots, so that's where most of those misses came from. I thought Townsend and Walker was doing a great job letting the game kind of come to him, playing great defense, solidifying their position as far as their playing time on defense is concerned. I mean, playing time is concerned.
One of the guys that Toby Awaka has been sizing up in practice, none other than the 7'2" center, Mo Krivas.
Just working out with him, being able to interact with him has been great. He's a he's a really good person, and he's really dedicated to his craft. You know, he's somebody that really sharpens you as a player when you're working out with him, things like that. It makes you want to be better as well.
And another obviously big advantage for the bigs on this team, whether it's Henry Vesar or Moteus Krivas or Toby Awaka or any of the others, the young man Emmanuel Stephen, who we'll get into his situation as well a little bit later. But they've got a pretty talented and young volunteer head coach on this staff in Shemek Karnowski, who played at Gonzaga and who can really assist in the production and in the practice environment of those young big men. And Toby Awaka definitely taking advantage of that as well.
Shemek is a brick wall. I think going up against him in practice has been really beneficial for me. I know back during his playing days, he was an amazing player, and I'm definitely grateful, and I know the team and the staff are grateful to have him here just to spread his knowledge. But in terms of footwork, positioning, stuff like that, he's really taught me a lot, and just to understand sort of what reads to make when having the ball in the post, what to do if they're double teaming from the bottom side or from the top side, things like that. So he's been really influential.
And guys, and we joke, Kelvin, about your time here and going up against managers. Shemek Karnowski is no manager.
No. That's a little different in there. Big body, 7-foot guy. And I'm gonna say this right now about Toby. He's gonna be another good interview. Mm-hmm. He's going to be another guy because I like just listening to him and listen to his IQ and his understanding of what he's learning and the things that he's picking up. I thought his reasoning for coming to the U of A was pretty smart as well and thought out as well. So it's pretty cool to see another guy that kind of, has an understanding and have some type of respect for the mentorship that he's, is getting.
Well, I mean, if you see a dude who's like, 6'7", 6'8", 250, like you're not thinking this is the guy who started a book club and likes to read about philosophy, Kelvin.
Right. No, and I met him again, another guy that met it with the Tucson Summer Pro League for the youth, and he was a guy that was out there, man. And when he first came up, I was just like, oh, man, he's probably going to be a pretty mean, pretty rough guy. And then he started talking, soft-spoken, and just, man, I was just really impressed with him from the start. He was out there coaching the kids right away. Usually guys come and just sit down and chill out a little bit, but he was already in there coaching, and him and KJ Lewis and who was it, Love as well, competing, and Bradley, they already out there competing against each other. I'm like, okay, so now excited for these guys.
Somebody just got their helmet knocked off in this Georgia Tech Miami game on your Goldberg and Osberg, the injury lawyers scoreboard. Georgia Tech late third quarter. Leading number 4 Miami right now, 21-16 down in Atlanta. So upset alert is on down in Georgia. But yeah, Trey Cooley got his helmet knocked off, a hard hit from the Miami defense. Watch this play, right? I mean, he's coming back. Face mask, and yep. Got that
helmet to helmet.
Yeah, that'll be a 15-yard. It could be 15-yard face mask and targeting. On that play. We'll see exactly. We'll get a slower look here to see. There's the face mask. And now, crown into the chest.
And was it called launching?
Yeah.
And he was launched.
He kind of launched. Yep. So that could be a targeting call there as well on the University of Miami. So college football still going on today, even though we are not playing college football today. I will just kind of give you an indication of what's happening around the Big 12 today with the Wildcats on bye. We'll do that real quick here and let you know one of the big games happening today is in Lubbock, Texas. Colorado, number 20 in the country, down there to take on the Red Raiders. Colorado 4-1 and in the mix for the Big 12 championship game. Texas Tech rallied after losing a couple of games. So they are looking to solidify their position as well at 5-2. BYU is in first place, obviously. They will take on their rivals today, the Utah Utes in Salt Lake City. That'll be the main game on ESPN tonight, West Coast 8:15. So 5-0 BYU against 1-4 Utah. The Utes struggling, having lost 4 games in a row. Iowa State will look to get back on track after their loss last week. They are at Kansas. Arizona State, bowl eligible, They're looking to maybe see if they can put themselves in the mix for a shot at the Big 12 championship game. They will host that Central Florida team that absolutely blew out Arizona last Saturday in the space game down in Orlando. One game in progress as we speak in Cincinnati. West Virginia up 10 points, 24-14 on the Bearcats of UC with about 10 minutes to go in that contest today. That's what's happening around the Big 12 Conference. All right, let's see if anybody's going to cash any tickets on this game today.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, best bets time. It was not a good night for Kelvin and J-Dub. They both took the Wildcats. We all took the Wildcats and laid the 34.5 on Monday night, and the Arizona basketball team did not cover. The over-under was 156.5. It came in at 157, so I got a ticket cashed there. Today, though, we've got Arizona minus 29.5 in this game against Old Dominion. J-Dub, I will start with you on this one.
29. Yeah, I'll say the Cats win by 32, so they cover that.
Minus 29.5. Kelvin?
Yeah, I say they cover that as well. I think the 13 new guys is going to cost Old Dominion a little bit.
There you go. I think I'm going to go with that as well. So everybody, once again, will take the Wildcats to cover that spread. The question now will be the over-under, which is a little bit higher than it was the other night. Again, 156.5 on Monday night. It's at 159 today. I don't know on this one on that. Well, what did they scored 80 points in their first game. That loss. They lost 83-82 to Buffalo. I'm going to take the over again. I took the over the other night, and I'm going to stick with the over.
Yeah. Well, I will say the only reason they scored 83 points is because they had 24 offensive rebounds. They shot 42% from the field, did ODU. So I'll say under, but not by much, just slightly under that number.
Yeah. Calvin?
And I'm going to go under as well. I think we're going to play better defensively. I think there was a little lapses there. And I think they have a big games coming up next week, and guys want to solidify that playing time. So, yeah, I think it's going to be some better defense play.
All right. Well, you guys both took the under in the last game and both take the under again, with me taking the over. We'll see who's cashing tickets on the post-game show later tonight.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet. Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, 2 segments left to go on the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. We will give you the scouting report brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. We'll hear from the new head coach of the Old Dominion Monarchs, Mike Jones, who arrives looking to turn this program around, as well as we'll get into some of the defensive things that we saw from the Arizona Wildcats. We saw some half-court trapping in that ball game on Monday night against Canisius. We'll get the coach's thoughts on that, as well as kind of how he's basically throwing all the defensive systems at them right away, and kind of the philosophy around that from Tommy Lloyd. So we'll hear from the head coach on that. Keys to the game, what we think the Wildcats are going to need to do to win tonight. Brought to you this afternoon, brought to you by Royal Automotive and your Rocking K starting lineup. All of that is still ahead before we get out of here at 1:30. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, Wildcats and Old Dominion. Tip-off coming up at 2 o'clock at McHale Center. If you're on your way to the game, let us hear from you by way of Facebook, by way of YouTube, by way of our text groove. You can text the show at 520-848-1290. What you want to see today that maybe you didn't see on Monday night, or more of what you saw Monday night that you want to see today from your Arizona Wildcats. We'll throw your thoughts out there as well. Along with Kelvin Efon and JW Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Priebus turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
Not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
Are you facing plumbing problems and need a reliable solution? Whether it's a leaky faucet, a clogged drain, or an upgrade to a tankless water heater, Rightway has you covered. And for a limited time only, we're offering 10% off your next repair or installation. Don't let plumbing issues ruin your day. Call Rightway at 520-276-2775. We'll get a plumber to your door. If it's worth doing, do it the right way.
All right, she's inside. Are you good?
Yeah, it's just, she's my baby girl, you know?
I do, and ceramic coating was a good choice.
She's beautiful.
Yep, I know.
Recon Auto Detailing. Enhance or restore your baby to her former glory with paint recondition, ceramic coating, paint protection, tinting, and more for full protection of your vehicle inside and out. New cars, old cars, we love them all. Recon Auto Detailing, 3829 North Oracle Road, Tucson. ReconDetail.com.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockinK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, the Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Efon, and J.W. Madden. Time now for our look at today's Wildcat opponent. The scouting report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
It is the Old Dominion Monarchs today at McHale Center in the Wildcats' second game of the season. Old Dominion is now under the direction of Mike Jones, who made his head coaching debut earlier this week in their season opener, an 83-82 loss to the Buffalo Bulls. Jones played at Old Dominion from 1991 to 1995. He's the second alum to be the head coach. Oliver Purnell was the first who Jones played for 3 seasons at Old Dominion. Jones was a part of 2 NCAA tournament teams and a part of some of the greatest wins in the history of the program. You might remember the triple overtime victory by Old Dominion in the 1995 NCAA tournament over Villanova, but they have fallen on some hard times. 7-25 last year were the Monarchs, just 3-15 in the Sun Belt Conference. 13 new players, including 5 transfers and 8 freshmen on this team right now. Mike Jones talked at his introductory press conference back earlier this spring about his hopes for turning around the program at his alma mater.
There were many categories that we felt were absolute must-haves. We needed a head coach who was a masterful recruiter. Mike Jones is one of the best in the business, especially in the Mid-Atlantic region, which is a basketball hotbed. His DC roots and connections will serve ODU well. If you look at the rosters of Virginia Tech and Maryland, they have Mike Jones's fingerprints all over them.
I'm going to start by just saying thank you to God. I have prayed for this day for a very long time. My wife and I believe in speaking things into existence, and given the opportunity to be here in front of you today is truly, truly a dream come true. You talk about coming home. As soon as we got on the plane this morning, we both kind of got the chills. I don't think that my words today will ever relay how excited we are. I'm glad to have my family here with me, who used to make the drive down 95 and 64 to come see me play every single game I played here at ODU, and to have them, they're a little older now. We got to figure out how we're going to get you guys down here for all the games, but we're going to make sure that happens. My brother and my sister are here. My godfather's here. One of my good friends, Mark. This is truly a special moment in my professional life, and I really want to relay today how excited I am, because I know how passionate the fan base is here, and I know how much this community, this school, and our program deserves to have a winner. And I am going to do everything I possibly can to make sure that each and every day, each and every practice, each and every workout we have, we are working towards that. But while doing that, I also want to make sure that all of our young men are people that you guys can be proud and want to cheer for. When you're talking about getting out into the community, it is so much easier for a fan base to root for young people that they enjoy being around and that they like. And through my years, I've always had the vision of the bigger picture. You're always going to be judged by your wins and your losses. I understand that. I embrace that. If you look at my track record, it hasn't always been easy, but we've always found a way. But with that, I have also made a commitment to every family that allowed their young man to come play for me, that they knew that I was always going to have their son's best interests, that I was always going to care about their son like he was one of mine, and that no matter what, that son could always count on me to have their back. We're not always going to see eye to eye. I'm always going to be challenging them to be better. The great ones become elite because they're pushed. The good ones become great because they're pushed. And we're going to recruit some great talent to come down here to Norfolk with us. And we're going to push them to be the absolute best that they can be as individuals, but ultimately to make a great team. That is my mission. That is my vision. And I cannot wait to get started. No offense to the University of Maryland, but I was working yesterday as soon as I got off the phone with President Hemphill and Dr. Seelig. So I've got to juggle both for the next couple of weeks as both seasons for the Monarchs and for the Terps come to a conclusion. But I literally need everybody here to know how I am 10 toes down, I am ready to go, and I could not be more excited.
That is Mike Jones. That was at his introductory press conference back when he was hired as the head coach, the new head coach at Old Dominion. And I mentioned he's got a number of transfers, 5 transfers, 8 freshmen, 13 new players in all. ODU is picked to finish 8th in the Sun Belt alongside Georgia Southern. Arkansas State selected to win that league this year. Among the transfers that he's gotten, my pest of the game, Stephon Walker, comes over for Robert Morris. Robert Davis Jr., J-Dub's pest of the game, who comes over from UMass. Sean Dura-Gordon from UMass as well. Donovan Raymond from Hampton, and Cal Swanton-Rogers from Maryland. Among the transfers into the program. Not too many returners. R.J. Blakeney is one of those. That was Kelvin's pest in the ball game to go along with Devin Caesar. Those are the 2 leading returners. Caesar, a transfer from Buffalo prior to the season before, played against his old team in that opener against on Monday, and he averaged 9 points last season, while Blakeney, who was also a transfer the year prior to that, coming over from Dayton, averaged 8 points per ball game. They lost that game by 1 point, did the Old Dominion Monarchs. Mike Jones after the loss to Buffalo.
For me, this is way different. This 22 years later, the world is different. This is way different. Though we lost, I will never forget tonight. And I will take everything from this game, from this night, and it'll be all the motivation that I need to continue to lead this program. I need everybody to truly understand what this place is. And I want these young men to embrace what this place is. This is a dream come true. Coaching my first game here tonight was a dream come true. And I will never forget that. And it will be everything I need to stay up late tonight watching this film, and all day tomorrow go vote, and then come back and watch more film so that I can get these guys ready when we get back together on Wednesday.
Mike, kind of along those lines, you talked about not having emotion impacted, but was there an emotional component for you tonight at all?
No.
No.
Not while the ball was in play. No, not at all. I tell these guys all the time, they're going to take on my personality. I need to do a better job of that. I don't think you saw me on the sideline jumping up and down, hooting and hollering. That's never going to be me. I want to be poised. I want to be even keeled. Bad play, great play, same guy. And I want them to play that same way. And we're going to get there. We're going to recruit to that. We're going to coach to that. And when we get there, I'm telling you, this is going to be one hell of a basketball team that will be representative of the basketball program that this place is supposed to be.
How many coaches wear suits anymore on the sidelines? Why are you going that route?
My mother. No, but honestly, it'll be something we do at all home games, unless there's a legitimate reason not to. And when you travel on the road, it's a little bit less convenient to take a suit with you when you're getting on commercial flights. But I believe this program deserves that. No offense to anybody that wants to dress down. I don't mean to take a shot at anybody else, but I want to. Monarchs are regal. We're gonna behave as such.
Well, we'll see if Mike Jones is suited up today at McHale Center for this game, which will tip off at 2:00. That's something we've talked about over the course of the last few years, how the suit game has gone away from college basketball. Coaches have gone to more comfortable sweats and pullovers and fleeces and that kind of thing.
Can't coach just send out one of his team managers to go get his suit pressed once he lands in town? How's that work?
Probably, right? Probably.
Well, he's saying like he doesn't, maybe not on the
A lot
road.
of these guys got tired of sweating out those expensive suits.
Yeah.
'Cause I never
Sean
could
Miller?
understand it. I always tried to do it at first, but man, it was just so uncomfortable. And you trying to coach, and coaching is athletic a lot of the time. So man, you sweating, you go in the locker room, and you like, I got to change at halftime. you're like, let me just wear some athletic.
All right, that is your scouting report on the Old Dominion Monarchs.
And that's the lowdown on the team U of A is about to face on the hardwood. The scouting report has been brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
And let's pause for station identification. Getting you set for Arizona basketball. This is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, on our Goldberg and Osborne scoreboard, I want to shift. We are starting to get the pairings for high school football postseason with the regular season wrapping up last night for the large schools. Marana will be the number 1 seed in the open playoff. They made that. They'd been the number 1 for pretty much the entire season, and it will stay that way. Marana will host Chandler Hamilton, next Friday night here in Tucson. So congratulations to head coach Philip Stord and his Marana Tigers for being the number 1 seed in the open division. It's going to be a gauntlet. It's going to be not easy for them, but I'm sure they'll be up to the performance and the task of doing what they can to make sure that they'll be the number 1 team still standing when it's all said and done. Conference 6A, South Point Catholic with an impressive win over Brophy Prep last night. Good to see Larry Fitzgerald was in town for that game. His son is on that team. Victor Yates, Arizona Wildcat alum, is one of the assistant coaches on that team, was also down for that game last night. But South Point Catholic beat up on Brophy Prep. They're going to be the number 5 seed in Conference 6A. They'll take on Williams Field on that game will be actually Thursday night, it looks like. They're going to play that game Thursday night at South Point Catholic. That'll be a 7 o'clock game for the Lancers on Thursday night. In Conference 5A, Ironwood Ridge is a 5 seed. They get a home game. They'll take on Kellis on Thursday night at Ironwood Ridge. Mountain View, who beat Ironwood Ridge last night, they're the number 13 seed. They're going to go on the road to Cactus. Buena is the number 3 seed. They're going to host Casa Grande on Thursday night down in Buena. Also in, and we'll have an all-Tucson matchup here on Thursday night. It'll be Cienega at Tucson High for the second time this season. The Badgers will host the Bobcats. They beat their old coach, Justin Hargraves, earlier in the year, and they will get a second shot at him again in the first round of the 4A or the 5A playoffs. On the 4A side, we've got local teams. Micah Mountain is in as the 4 seed. They're going to host Coconino. Again, all these games are on Thursday night this week, and I'm wondering if that's because, well, obviously you have Arizona football playing on Friday night. I don't know if that's the specific reason why a lot of these games are on Thursday, but that's awesome that they are playing these games on Thursday, so you're not in competition with the Arizona Wildcats Friday night. Canyon Del Oro, I'm sorry, these games are Friday night. I'm totally getting my dates mixed up here. These games are Friday night. I'm thinking today is Friday and not Saturday. These games are all Friday night. Coconino at Micah Mountain, Canyon Del Oro at Snowflake. So Canyon Del Oro, the defending champs, will be on the road. Those are your only teams from Southern Arizona. I'm sorry, Walden Grove also made it at number 9. Walden Grove will play at Northwest Christian. So all of those games that I previously said were on Thursday night, actually all of those games are on Friday night coming up this week. So it's going to be a busy Friday night with high school football, Arizona football hosting Houston, Arizona basketball at Wisconsin. Get ready, and we'll tell you exactly how that's all going to work for us as well coming up, because we're going to have two games happening simultaneously going on Friday. We'll give you on Monday. We'll let you know exactly how that's going to go down here within the walls of Wildcats Radio 1290. It is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We have one segment left to go, defensive breakdown. We'll go over some of the things that happened defensively for the Wildcats, plus keys to the game and starting lineups. That's all straight ahead. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE EAGLE.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thona Autumn Nation.
Hi, this is Tim Couch, retired NFL quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, partner at Meridian Wealth Management, and proud member of Meridian's Tucson Advisory Business Council. It's my favorite time of year, college football season. I've always been a proud Wildcat. As our firm has grown in Tucson with Ruben and Natalie Fernandez, I now cheer on two Wildcats every year. My alma mater of Kentucky, of course, and our U of A Cats. Here's to a great football season, and go Cats.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
There are many reasons you might need Dorado Rockin' Materials. A few bare spots in the yard. The driveway needs filling in. Or it could be that the yard needs a whole makeover. Whatever the reason, if your yard has the summertime blues, Dorado Rockin' Materials has everything from sand to boulders and every rock and pebble in between. If you need help spreading it, we have options for that too. Call 400-4233. Dorado Rockin' Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
A lot of differences. 60,000 people is a big difference. Walking around and seeing events going on 24/7, that's something that's different to me. Football games pretty cool, tailgates, that kind of environment. But I would say just walking around campus and you kind of have that swag that we kind of pride ourselves on. That's something that's pretty cool.
Anthony Del Orso getting used to his new surroundings here at the University of Arizona as he comes over from Campbell, enjoying the weather and the large campus lifestyle. We talk about some of these young men that are coming from different schools. A lot of them well, obviously Toby Waka was at Tennessee, which is probably a bigger school than Arizona, but players like Trey Townsend and Anthony Del Orso coming from smaller schools and getting not only that big-time basketball environment for the first time, guys, but getting that big-time college environment for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I came straight to Arizona, so I don't really know about the other situations. I mean, especially, U of A basketball. I can only imagine where they're at now, because I remember 30 years ago, and everything was first class. I mean, we were on another level, and it felt like that, and it made you want to perform that way.
Well, last game against Canisius, we saw they had some big men who could shoot the three ball in that ball game, and when we talked about that in our post-game show, some of the shots that got made, and the Wildcats, we saw a number of things from them defensively in that game on Monday night. And Tommy Lloyd, first and foremost, talked about how he felt they defended that 5-out look that they saw from Canisius.
We didn't work on it all summer just for Canisius. I'm hoping that's something we can utilize over the course of the year, and I'll just have to get a feel for it. I think we could have been a little bit more aggressive and opportunistic, but kind of when you do your install, sometimes as a coach you maybe put too many things in, and you expose your guys to too many things, and then you kind of got to drill down and go back to things a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth time. And then you start getting better at it, and then you start teaching it. But I've probably been installing too many things intentionally, and maybe we're a little bit watered down. But there's a method to it. Now we got to go back and you get live reps in the game, and you watch them in film. Okay, they're not understanding this. We need to get better at that. So now you can attack specific areas.
10 threes was maybe that was the thing that kind of stood out from that Canisius game, where they were able to knock down those three balls. And we mentioned you got a young man coming in here who made 8 3-point shots in the Old Dominion's first game. So how they defend the perimeter will be critical again today.
Yeah, and I thought it was the same last year. I think in the beginning of last year, when they had all the guys just getting to learn each other, and I think the same with this team, guys are over-helping a little bit, and you could have a shooter there, and you can help, but if you know that guy's driving the pass, you help a little bit, and then you hurry up and get back out to the shooter, and I feel like we was over-helping on some of the penetration, which allowed some of the catch-and-shoot shot attempts. So I think they're going to just have to earn out where they help and make sure they don't help too much and put themselves in a defensive liability where guys could get those shots.
Let's hear from Tommy Lloyd. He mentioned there you saw him say, or you heard him say, I should say, that he's throwing a lot of defensive concepts at this team early through camp and into these first 2 games and the first regular season game on why he has chosen to kind of throw all the defensive concepts at them right out of the gate.
It's an effective way, I think, to teach and learn, because it's not like it's the first time they've heard it. I mean, I thought it was effective. There's probably a few more turnovers than I even realized, just a mishandle here and there. And it didn't have to be like a steal to a dunk or anything like that. But I also felt like there was a few trap opportunities in there we can get a little bit better at. So, and what you're really trying to establish first, if you want to be able to do that after made baskets and stuff, the biggest thing is, can you get matched up once it comes over half court? So we've spent a lot of time trying to figure that out. And now maybe we can be a little bit more aggressive up front.
Well, and again, we saw some trapping as well by the Wildcats in that game. They were able to force 19 turnovers in that contest on Monday night. What do you think of that concept, though, Kelvin, of just kind of, let's just kind of throw it at them, and then we'll kind of figure out what they can do with what we've given them. And if we find that some things aren't working, then we'll kind of peel it back.
Yeah, I think you have to kind of do that when you have so many veteran guys. They're not necessarily veterans with the Wildcats, but they're guys that have been around a little bit. And the last thing you want them to do is be bored. So I'd rather throw it all at you and see what guys could take the information in. And that way I can look and see the guys that don't, and I can work a little harder, get my assistant coaches to work a little harder on getting those guys to catch up. So, of course, you want to throw it at them. And I think with the different tinkering that you can do with the defense is the depth. I mean, a lot of time you have to stick to one defense when you don't have other guys that you can go to on the bench. But when you got 4 or 5 guys that you can go to on the bench, there's different things that you can do. Full court man, full court zone. Conrad adds an element with his speed that you can put out there and put them on someone full court or whatnot. So and so I just think that there's so many different ways. I think you can go with a small group and have everybody switch, right? So there's several different things that you can tinker with when you have this much talent.
Anthony Delorso obviously is a young man that comes in here. We've talked a lot about his offense and what he can potentially give you at that end of the floor, but he knows that if he won, and we kind of talked about, well, is he going to be an 18-minute a game guy moving forward like he was in game one? But he knows that if he wants to keep those minutes at that level, he's going to have to be able to defend.
It's an effective way, I think, to teach.
It's something that I'm trying to pride myself on. Obviously, the offense for me has been there the last 2 years, but defense is somewhere where you'll find playing time if you can defend. So that's something I'm focusing on in practice, and coaches on me to, try to help me. It's not like a thing he's going at me to make excuses. It's a way to make me better. But yeah, you got to pride yourself on defense. Like I said, you got to draw that line in the sand and be like, you're not getting past me. And once you get that reputation in the league, then your life becomes a whole lot easier.
There you go, Anthony Delorso. I like a lot of the things that I hear from him as well.
And I heard him say, once you get that reputation in the league, I guarantee you the rest of what he was going to say was, once you get that reputation, people find other people to go at.
Yeah.
They find somebody else. They're like, don't go at KJ Lewis. Don't go at Bradley. So you got to figure out, you got to pick your poison.
All right, what does Old Dominion need to do to win? Well, what do the Wildcats need to do to win this game today? Let's let you know what we think on that.
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, J-Dub, what do you think?
Well, my keys are pretty simple. I watched what Old Dominion did the other day, and they shot 42%, and they had 22 offensive rebounds. That's what kept them in the game. So there's a tendency for teams like Tommy Lloyd's paced teams to get out before they actually secure the defensive rebound. So more than anything, make sure you watch those guys crashing on the offensive glass. Number 2, less than 12 turnovers. I think you're going to play fast. I think they're trying to figure out what lineups they want to do. Doesn't mean you can't play smart while you're doing that. So as a team, moving forward, we're going to see a big steep rise in competition. Against teams like Old Dominion, you want to just make sure you take care of the ball, get good shots. And number 3, don't fall in love with that three-point shot. Work the offense, try to get inside the paint, listen to coach, try to get more free throws than three-point attempts. I'd like to see less than 20, maybe 25 at most three-point attempts. Those are my keys versus Old Dominion.
All right, Kelvin Ifan, what you got today?
For sure, all those things that J-Dub said, and I think one of the major keys is making sure that we cover that three-point line. We want to make sure that isn't a weapon for other teams that playing against us. So we got to make sure that yes, we're covering that inside, and we want to make sure they don't get layups, but we don't want to allow wide open threes. So I want to see them cover those threes and not give up as many wide open looks. I also believe I want to see the new guys, the Owakas, the Townsends, they'll also get some easier shots within the offense to kind of get them going because I think we're going to need them going into next week versus the better talent. And then hey, try to get this, I ain't going to say get this game over with quick, but jump on top of these guys early so we can get these guys rested and get them ready for next week.
Yeah, I think for me it's got to be consistency. It starts with consistency. I'd like to see a little bit more consistent 40 minutes from this team. They played a great 5 minutes last Monday night and jumping out to that 20-2 lead. Then it got a little bit topsy-turvy there. So I want to see a consistent 40 minutes from this team across the board. I'll agree with what you said there as well, Kelvin. I think it's going to be important to defend the three-point line because, in games like this, that's how a team like Old Dominion is going to beat you. They're going to beat you by knocking down a bunch of three-point shots. So make sure that you're out on shooters. and defending the three-point line for sure. And I think the other thing just we didn't see in game one, I'd like to see game two, is the guards aggressively getting to the basket and getting some free throws as well. But again, if you get up early like they did on Monday night, games like that maybe don't necessarily lend to that, and why maybe push the ball into the paint and risk injury a lot of times if you don't necessarily have to, if you're already up 20. But, be a little bit more aggressive to the basket early in the game. I wouldn't necessarily mind that from the Arizona Wildcats as well. That is what we think U of A needs to do to win this game.
Wildcats fans, that's our keys to the game. Brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right. Final thoughts, Kelvin Ifan.
Hey, just excited to see these guys get back to action and just to see that chemistry continue to grow. That's it. Just want to see that chemistry grow to get those guys ready for some better competition.
J-Dub.
Yeah, same. Just keep the unity, keep everybody be on the same page, and just look for each other and play good team basketball, because that's what it's going to take, especially once you get to the Duke game coming up and into conference play. So just don't settle for those shots you can get. Try to get shots within that offense you're going to need to be able to get later in the season.
All right, let's give you the starting lineups for today's game.
The foundation of a great college basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature.
All right, here's your starting lineup for today. Caleb Love at one guard, 6'4", 205-pound, fifth-year out of St. Louis, 17 points and 16 assists in game number one. KJ Lewis, 6'4" guard out of El Paso, Texas, 14 points and 4 assists in game one. You've got Jaden Bradley at point guard out of Rochester, New York, 15 points and 4 assists in game one. Your forward, Toby Awaka, 6'8", 250-pound junior out of Tennessee. And your other forward is none other than Trey Townsend, 6'6", 235, fifth-year man out of Oakland University. That is your starting lineup, and that wraps up our show. For Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden, my name is David Kelly. Enjoy the game, everybody. Arizona and Old Dominion coming up next. Bear Down, Arizona.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
You've heard the term fiduciary when describing financial services, but do you know what that really means? The fiduciary standard requires firms to put the interests of the client above the interests of the financial advisor. This is Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, we intentionally structured our business as a true fiduciary and are in the minority of firms in the industry who operate that way. As I always say, our clients come first, and we mean it. Visit meridianwealthllc.com or call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet. Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's